Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good whatever time. At your place, hello. Let me know if you can hear me okay. And I should be live and working out well. Let's see. We have about 20 to 30 seconds delay, so. Hello hi from Malaysia. Summer85, hello people. I know I'm so late. I'm a month and almost 2 months late. Didn't do my live in August, and then this is already end of September. Somehow. Time really flies. Hello, people from everywhere. How are you doing? Is the weather good where you are? Usually September is not too bad, but depending. I'm sleepy for some reason. I actually slept quite a lot last night, but still. I don't know, maybe it's just the light. You know, when you have a huge light in your face, you tend to get like really sleepy. It's raining. Well, at least it's not hailstorm. Intermonsoon season. That's terrible. Extreme weather is never a good thing. I'm lucky that this year I didn't go back in the summer to China, because I went back last year. This year, I am so lucky because for the majority of summer in my hometown, it was hell. It was like consecutively a whole month every day over 40 degrees. And it caused like really bad drought for the farming industry, like around that region. And then every day there's nowhere you can go but stay inside in AC place, otherwise you just cook with a humidity over 80% for a whole freaking month, every day above 40 degrees. No, that does not sound like inhabitable. So lucky I didn't pick this summer to go back to China. Otherwise I can't imagine. Maybe too much dreaming about Wukong. No, it's just exhaustion. I don't know, because playing game is just really exhausting. That's like, it's a lot more work than watching dramas. So it accumulates. And yeah, I spent basically, I think the game went live on, well, technically on my end of the sort of like time, it should be 19th, like late evening of August the 19th. In China, it was August the 20th morning. And then, so it's been a month and 6 days, like since the game went live. And pretty much everybody who's playing it, if they went in like on the first day, they definitely have gone through it, like at least once, twice, I don't know. So right now the game is definitely cooled down. It's not like when it first went live the first week. It was crazy on the internet. Yeah, and it's the first action RPG I've ever done on a game console. I literally got a game console and the television for this. But anyway, because televisions, I'm like, yeah, I can convince myself to get one big screen so that I can watch films and dramas on it, which I haven't done for over 10 years. Like for the last 10 years, the only screen I had is my computer. My Mac. I don't use a television. And I was debating, because I have no use of a PC basically. If I get a PC, it would be only for playing games, which I feel it's like overkill to get a graphic card that's like worth $2,000. This is too much. So I'd rather just get a television so that I watch movies on the big screen, and then I get a game console. So that's why I did it on PS5, not on a PC. Which, I mean, PS5 doesn't actually have the best look of the game. If you wanna really get the full sort of like visual of this game, you need a sort of like right now the best graphic card possible and on a PC, and that way you probably can see the best frame rate and all the Unreal Engine 5 stuff. On a PS5, it doesn't do like the full sort of thing, but then it is a bigger screen and you're sitting in front of a television, so you don't actually sit so close to the screen, so it does not matter that much in terms of actually being able to see all the details. You're not supposed to because you have a big screen. Anyway, I did it for a month, and it's pretty interesting experience. I am not a game player. I think I've mentioned before, like the only game I ever play was like Sims, and I use it to build buildings. Like I only play the part where you build a house and decorated it in the Sims, and then you put a couple of people in, and then after like a few days like of these people living there, you get bored and you build another house. So that's what I always do. With gaming, I only did Sims before, so like to me, this type of action game I never played before. I think when I was very little, I played like 仙剑 on computer, you know, the Chinese paladin game. So that's like the type of game that you go in rounds. You fight your enemies, but you take rounds. You take a round, they take a round, and you know, like it's set up as that type of battle. So I think previously, any game that has any battle in it I've ever played would be that type of game where you take turns to fight. Your turn, my turn, and that's it. And then Sims. That's the only games I've ever played. Now, not counting like when I was really little, and I don't really own any game thing at home. It's just occasionally going to friends' place and you like play like the early day Super Mario, you know, like super early day, or Rayman. I remember. Like those type of, you run across a map and you jump and you like, those were the games I've played, like early days, very very early days, and then it's like the Sims, and then a couple of like taking around games, and then no, like I at least before Black Myth, I think I haven't played any like fight sort of like, you know, game for like 12 years or something. So Jesse, thank you. Yeah, like going through the game is a bit tough. Those videos, it takes so much time to do, and it's definitely like right now I have 4 or 5 chapters, and the last one doesn't really have a story left to say, and it's already like a month after the game, so most people have already figured out what the game has. But I'm like, yeah, I'm just gonna make it anyway. Just finish the whole run. I mean, there's a lot you can dig out of Black Myth Wukong. Yesterday they just posted a video that's an interview with the music director of this whole game. It's like 2 hours and a half chat, just like podcast, where this person is a gaming channel. They interviewed the music director of the whole game and talked through how they created all the sound effect, dubbing, music for the game. It's fascinating how they did it. Like, so if you want to look at that, you can make a video talking about that. I'm not a music expert, so I can't really do that. But I mean, I've listened to that whole interview. It's so interesting. They also like there are people who actually figure out every little thing, like where it came from. It's crazy, like which museum hosts which item, which gets like 3D scanned and ended up in the game. Architecture, carvings, there's so much. Like if you want to really do everything, you can do this content till the end of this year. It's insanity. Yeah. Hope everyone is having a nice day too. Yeah. And nice souls next, since you managed to finish Wukong. Okay, I'll look into it. But gaming is so exhausting. and I don't think I have that much like stamina to actually keep playing this type of game. Like I do it for Wukong because it's so special, right? It's like because of everything it is, and but you kind of have to convince yourself to do it for another game. And I don't know, I'll just play for relaxing. I don't want to play for like because I never played this type of game. So this is my first. So I would say it's actually when you try to get through a boss fight and you can't, it's really exhausting. It's just like physically, like I told you guys, like it's like best weight losing method I've found so far in my life. I am so surprised by it, how effective it is. You know, you can say dieting, exercising, none of that beats like gaming in terms of dropping weight. If you just want the scale to go down, for example, like tomorrow you have to go to a wedding or something, or like in a week's time you need to lose a dress size because you need to look like this for whatever reason, or you're like in sports, you know, like tomorrow you're gonna weigh and then compete, you have to hit a number on the scale. Go and play a really difficult action RPG game where you can't get through a boss for hours and hours. You lose your weight, like unbelievable. I've never seen my body weight like just go down because your heart rate is maintained at a really high level constantly for those hours. If you didn't get through the boss for 3 hours, then your heart rate is like 120 for 3 hours. If you exercise, you can't keep that. You it's running marathon, and you're not gonna, you know, your body will not allow you to. But because your concentration is here, and your brain is like firing all the signals, and it's burning calorie already, and then you're so heart rate up, and then you actually get dehydration. So you drink a lot of water, but then you pee a lot too. So after a day of doing that, you like lose a kilo. You can go that far. Like with my body weight to start with, right? If you're fatter and bigger than me, you lose more. So if you play a game like constantly for 12 hours, it's likely you can lose 1 to 2 kilos like nothing. It just, you don't even feel it, and your weight disappeared. And it's all water weight, sure, but like it's insane like how fast it just goes. So if you want to dehydrate, right, and you feel like you have too much water retained in your cells, right, go play game for 5 hours. And this type of game that's intense, constantly requires very fast reaction, you're gonna lose the water without your like even trying to do any moving amount. You're just sitting there and it goes away. I never knew that, but now I know. I'm like, oh my god, open my eyes. Jiangziya rumor, I have no idea. They have to do the DLC first, right, for this game, which at least is gonna take them a year or two. At least 2 years, really. So after that, let's see what happens. And also by then, another game is gonna come out, I think a lot of people are gonna go into, which is the Phantom Blade. If you've heard about it. Last year and this year, this game has gotten a lot of attention. It's another Chinese game company, and it's pure wuxia, so it's not Monkey King, it's not tied to lore, it's a new story, but it's the main character is a Chinese wuxia character, so they're gonna be using a lot of weapons. So it's gonna be very different weapon based, and it's just fight. And also like they design really crazy moves. And that game is probably not gonna come out until 26, 27 even. But by the time the DLC of Black Myth Wukong comes out, then that game would be following. And I'm guessing for this type of action game, that one is gonna be the next big one, Phantom Blade from China. I can already tell, because just how it, like now I've played one, so I look at their video of their demo and I can tell, I'm like, wow. That's like some really crazy shit they designed for the game, and like action nerd people will really like it. So that's gonna be a next big one, I'm pretty sure. As for this company, Game Science, right, what they can do, wait till you see. It's too early to tell. if they make a spin-off for the Zhu Bajie character, I wouldn't mind. You know, like if they make a Bajie focused one, because the pig is so adorable. It's gonna be tough for him, like in his little form, to fight, but I don't know, like, yeah, it's adorable. So, open my eyes, and now I can see why, why they're like for drama market, right? It's always just a. I can see why for people who play games they don't watch dramas. A lot of people who are really game players, because dramas is completely passive. You are not taking part in any of the storytelling. You're just sitting there watching others. I mean, occasionally watch a movie, watch a couple of episodes, maybe fine. But if you do it like I do, which is like all the time, it definitely is not as fun as playing games. Because playing games, you are taking part in it. You're active, and you can think of a strategy and test it out and see if it works out. So you always have that constant feedback and new things that you actually are partially in control. Whereas drama watching, like, you can't do anything. It's already done. Nothing you can do. You can just sit there. All you can do is say, oh, it's good or it's bad. And nothing else you can add on that. So definitely doesn't have the taking part element in it. And I don't know, if you want a lot of feedback, gaming is is a lot more exciting than dramas, for sure. And it just happens to be, I think, from end of August to now, really there aren't that many exciting dramas in Chinese drama either. It just happens to not have that many worth watching ones. I mean, there are a couple that are, for example, the one that just wrapped, the high school, like the lady headmaster of the only like girl high school drama, Song Jia, led 24 episodes only. It just wrapped today, I think, like finally. And it's a good drama, like good drama. Great script writing, great casting, great acting, great acting. And it's, considering it's a biography drama, it's even more impressive that they really did justice to the people that they're portraying. So it's a great drama, for sure. But it probably is not gonna be the type of getting a lot of attention, fandom, popularity drama, because it's those serious dramas, right? It's the message, the story, and the story about that person. That's like, it's definitely worth telling, but it's not entertainment. You know, it's not like those type of things you can ship or whatever for whatever reason. It doesn't have very high entertainment value. It just is very good. So that type of drama is like, nobody would say anything bad, and it's getting super high score on Douban. 山花烂漫时 led by Song Jia, that drama. But, you know, like, there's very little entertainment value you can milk out of it, because it's not for entertainment. It's a biography. It's a brilliantly done drama, but it's not, you know, for entertainment's sake, honestly. Although I still say that's such a good drama. Like, I'm very impressed by the, for example, leading actress Song Jia. You know, like, she's been around for decades, and she's played everything you can imagine, from idol dramas, period dramas, wuxia, to case breaking, to, like, she can do anything. She's magical. And now she does Zhang Guimei, and I'm just like so impressed by her acting. And then the funny thing about this drama is everyone is good. Like, Nie Yuan plays one of those supporting, you know, like, government officials. The supporting, like, teachers, Zhang Yue, Huang Miyi, Zhai Zilu, they're all brilliant in this drama. So if you're not watching it, I highly recommend you check it out. The Tencent one, 山花烂漫时. What's the English title? The one with the headmaster who is having the high school of all girls high school. 山花烂漫时, because it was like a girl high school in like in the mountain, like that what is its original title, and then they changed it like both Chinese and English. So that's why I can't quite remember She and Her Girls, okay, because I can't quite remember the final version because they keep changing it, and in my brain it keeps getting changed. Yeah, it's a true story. The lady who got featured as the headmaster, she's a real person, and it's based on everything she's done from early 2000s to now. And last year they had a movie made and released in theater, which is played by led by Haiqing, so playing the Song Jia's character. And it got a lot of controversy on China's internet. And then the drama version is because the television version is a lot more authentic to the real person in real life, and you have the not so well received work before it. So this one, even in contrast, becomes even better. It's all like it's based on everything that's real, and it's pretty impressive. And it goes into very, very detailed everything about how that school got built up and what they went through and all the difficulties you can imagine or cannot imagine, and why it's necessary for that to happen. And yeah, it's a proper drama. I think it's one of those organizations in China that kind of commission the drama. Is actually women's committee, I think, 全国妇联 national. So it's very women focused, and it's talking about all the dilemmas that, you know, that living in the real world in a very remote sort of region of China, and education for women. It's very relevant, you know, even though it's like 2020s now, it's still relevant. I mean, if you think about globally what's going on in certain places, it's this is still ongoing. So it's the Chinese story, like real person story version. Very good drama. Like, the only complaint I would have about that one is I don't like its visual style. That's all. But I feel like Tencent is, I don't know why, they have so many different tiers of like what visual quality you get. But even if you get the best, it still doesn't look very good. I don't like the color grading, the visual, the contrast, like it's actually filmed quite okay in terms of like, say, I design a frame, I design transition, I design angles, I design with light and the moment of, like, you can tell like it's made by a group of people who know how to tell stories with cameras. They have like experience and they have education behind it. So in that department it's well done, but just the physicals of like what color, what contrast, what texture, like the visual, it doesn't look very good. I don't like how it looks, and sometimes it affects me. Like I would have to just like, you know, like remind myself it does not matter that much for this story. But in an ideal world, I would love this whole drama to be like the color grading be redone, like the whole thing. The color grading is weird for this drama. It just doesn't look very good. And you can say like you're doing a realism drama, but it does not mean that you have to make the visual looking so, I don't know, the contrast level is very weird on Tencent. I'm watching it on Tencent. I don't know, like if it has like 3 different like 4K whatever, like it has weird choices, but none of them look okay. Like it just looks really weird, and it's just me. And it doesn't affect the storytelling quality, but in an ideal world, I wish the visual could be even better. The color, particularly color, is just not something I like about the drama. So that's for that one. It just finished airing today, and I am definitely behind it. I'm like not even halfway, but I know it's good. And I mean, so far I can see every episode is well made, so I have no problem believing that the rest is just gonna get even better. And it's all based on real things. All the characters have real, like the students, the teachers, the local sort of like government officials, they are all based on real people. So that one, I will definitely get to the end. And first shot just finished airing, right? So pretty much I've made a video about it already. 流水迢迢, I am at like what, 16, 15, 16, 17, and I stopped watching. I haven't managed to keep keep going down because it starts to get boring and I don't really want to keep watching. I know where it's kind of like going. The Zhang Xingchen Wang Yuwen drama I haven't yet checked out. I wish I should. but I still haven't. I didn't have time. It took me so much time to do the Wukong video. Like for the recent one yesterday I put out, it's just under an hour. My raw material was like 2 hours, and I have to edit it, like clean up all the things. So the editing took like 2 days. And then after that, I have to then go and then typing all the things, putting all the visuals in. And then after that, I have to do subtitling, which because it's so long, the subtitling takes about 2 to 3 times as long as the actual length of the video. So that one video took me like, I don't know how many days. And I still have to do chapter 4 and 5. So when that's happening, I just don't have that much time watching that many dramas. Xiangsling will be able to air? Why? What's wrong with it? Oh, you mean Angelababy? Is it the Angelababy and Song Weilong one? Desiree? Is that Xiangsling? Do you mean that one? The period drama? Do you mean Angelababy? I mean, she's not banned. She may be just like in freezer for a while. I don't think she's in any way technically banned. But she definitely has dropped down in terms of her popularity, exposure, and also, well, what can you say? Improper. I didn't go crazy with First Shot because I know it's not gonna do anything, right? It's not the era of BL dramas anymore, and it's not a technically BL. And for these two guys, it seems they get along pretty well. They've been together like doing dramas for 2 already. If they ever work together for a 3rd one, that would be cool. You don't wanna jinx it. You don't wanna overdo it so that it ends up being like there's this weird cult and fandom of BL shipping them that makes it awkward for them to work together again. That would be sad. You know, if they ever come together and do another drama, you'd rather they just remain a normal colleague kind of relationship and don't overdo it, so that they can have future dramas, right? If because people are too keen on this sort of screen couple, that probably was like half unintentional, half intentional, then it may just completely destroy any future collaboration possibilities, and you don't necessarily want that. So I'm not like fully going in it like crazy, but I definitely enjoyed it. Like it just magically worked out really well. I never really bought into Huang Jingyu's anything. Like he doesn't work on me. I don't know, like his looks is just not my thing. His voice is not my thing. Like his manspreading is not my thing. So any dramas he's been in, I've watched. I mostly just look at it from a plot point of view. Is it worth watching? Him personally to me is like, I don't get any signal. I mean, not interested in him at all. But I think in First Shot, Wang Ziqi and him together really worked quite well. Okay, I can ship them. Like I'm not gonna be interested in Huang Jinyu as an actor in any way, but like when he is with Wang Ziqi as a, you know, like on-screen couple, that looks quite cute. Like I can ship them. And I've had a lot of fun, and it worked out really well. Well, what can I say? They're adorable together. They're just like adorable. Considering realistically, these two guys are both like actually quite big, quite tall. In reality, when you see them, you're not gonna feel like they're in any way adorable. But you know, camera cannot let you actually know the size of the person, right? So it worked it out great on screen. 古琴 playing Fateful Love. 流光影. Anybody who even watched 流光影, oh my god, you're so brave. I can't even click that drama open knowing who is leading it. It's just gonna cause like mental distress and psychological trauma on me if I even like click into that drama. So I didn't even check out one moment of that drama, and I certainly wouldn't know if they're playing Guqing in it. Sorry. Like it's one thing that you know, like it's not gonna do you any good. So you like actively avoid watching any dramas that has that guy in, right? I think I have better things to do. I'd rather not check out that drama. Go ahead, Korean remake, and compare the two. Oh, really? There's a remake? I have no idea. Angelababy. Yeah. Desiree. Angelababy, she's not cancelled, but she definitely is losing a lot of, I'd say, any type of support that previously she gets, whether from fandom or from money, from capital. I wouldn't say they completely think of her as lost cause, but honestly, what is her competitiveness in the market, right? For this type of, like, age-wise, there's so many younger, prettier girls coming up, and it's cruel business. She's definitely not young at her prime. Marriage-wise, when her marriage broke with Huang Xiangming, it definitely affected her. Yeah, like, we don't know exactly what happens, but in terms of Huang Xiangming's influence in the industry, it's truly there. So if it didn't, like, if it's not on good terms, then it's gonna affect what she can get from after the divorce. Basically, people in the industry is gonna walk around her, whatever. And then in terms of, like, as an entertainment business sort of in front of the camera person, you really cannot say what is of her that cannot be replaced in the industry by other people easily. If you're saying prettiness, there are many pretty people, and she's not like the like never seen in history before type of level of. You have other younger and prettier people who will keep coming up more, and also, like, she can't do anything else. Like, can she sing? No. Can she dance? No. Can she act? No. Like, what else can she do? Like, she can be a heart, like, I don't know, like, cover model. Like, that's probably the only thing left. So with Angelababy is, if you are money, why do you want to keep investing in her instead of, like, in anyone else? It's not like she's gonna for sure get you a better return in any way. And because of what happened last year, you know, it's like, money is very sensitive. If there's any risk of us not getting our return, then we move to the next target. There are always newer, fresher faces and more safe options. Yeah, and then as an actress, the biggest problem of hers is obviously she really cannot act. She and Song Weilong, both of them, are, like, just not built for it, right? It's not like I have any problem with them. Like, they're pretty people, but does not equal to, if you're pretty, then you're a good actor. It doesn't work like that at all. Like, nothing goes on behind their eyes. They are very pretty but wooden people. Like, some people are not that pretty, but, like, sparks in their eyes, the camera captures that, and there's so much going on. Like, for example, like, can you say Zhang Yu is pretty? He's not pretty in first shot, right? This actor never would be considered as classic leading man material, super, like, build wise or look wise, but this guy can act. And he can make you just stare at his face for like long lasting shots of, like, just on his face. And there's so much ongoing. And that's actor. That guy is, like, meant for camera. And what can you say? Whether you look handsome or pretty does not matter in that case. So Angelababy and Song Weilong. I don't know who is the genius who managed to put them up together. Because they happen to, I think, fail at acting in the exact same way. So both very good-looking people, but both cannot act and cannot act almost in the same way. And I imagine, like, putting them as a couple together. What are you trying to do? There's some kind of weird magic you're trying to put together. It's even harder to understand than, say, pairing up Song Weilong and Ju Jingyi. Because Zhu Jingyi is bad at acting, but she's bad in a completely different way. She's bad in the opposite way of like Song Weilong and Angelababy being bad. So she's like the other type of being bad. I mean, in that way, I can almost understand it better, that when her overacting and not superficial overacting pairs up with Song Weilong's not wooden, nothing going on acting, it kind of in some ways would compensate each other. But putting Angelababy and Song Weilong together is... They should just do still shots for the whole drama. They should not use a film camera. They should use a photography camera. And then just like type out. Like a manga. Like a manga, they just type out all the lines in actual characters, in subtitles, and add some nice BGM and transition. That probably will make it even more artistic, a drama, than actually filming them walking and talking. And that's my opinion about Song Weilong and Angelababy in one drama. Honestly, if it was up to me, I would do a completely still shot drama, first ever in Chinese dramaland, featuring two actors who never move, even one frame. Every frame is still in the whole drama. It probably will work better. Just reading people's comments, okay, so that I don't miss things, because I'm already missing some. Oh, you bought 西游记, Kiara Lu, in Chinese? It's gonna be a pain to read through it. I don't actually enjoy reading 西游记 in Chinese. I don't enjoy it. It's not the type of story I like, and not the type of language like I find interesting. The classic novels, right? For me, 红楼梦 is always number one, and 西游记 is just not my thing. And also 西游记 is actually really funny, because it has gone through actually so many editions in history, and it's initially storytellers' work. So it's all and then people put it together, and then they edit generation after generation. And there's a lot of repeated formulaic way of talking about fights, views, people. It also includes a lot of I don't know, like I just find it very stale. The form of storytelling extremely stale, and it's just like repeating the structure with different 妖怪 every time, but it's like the same thing over and over and over again. I find it's really like not my type of thing. Also 西游记, the one you read now, sort of like finalized by us now, is just one that like people eventually sort of decided on and worked on. Historically, there are so many different versions, and some of them are just like really... It almost feels like what happened in history was different storytellers are telling this story, and they earn their living by it. So they all add their own flavor into it to make it more exciting, and honestly speaking, with a little bit more touch of all the improper sexual jokes that you can add into storytelling. So it's like stand-up comedian competing with each other. In history, people add a lot of juice into the story so that more people come and listen to what they say. So that some of the leftovers, old versions, if you check like the history of 西游记, it's like, oh my god, like this is so improper for kids to read. Literally, it's like that. Now the version you see is the cleaned up contemporary version that just got rid of all those things. But if you find some older versions of 西游记 in history, oh my god, it would be very improper for you to even speak out those words. That's like how funny 西游记, this work, is in history. It's been canonized and like put on a pedestal by contemporary people, but when it was actually happening in history, it was just one of those after dinner we go out and have fun, cheap entertainment things that somebody is offering at a storytelling place, like modern theater, film, theater, or even like whatever kind of entertainment you can think of. And so if somebody is reading Chinese like 西游记, I say this, that's a lot of hard work. It's a long book, 100 chapters and a lot of repeated structure of storytelling. And the other day I was looking at like people analyzing the older versions of 西游记 video, and oh my god, there's literally like sections of Sun Wukong telling Tang Seng about basically showing off his super sexual abilities. I'm like, oh my god, like imagine that. Imagine the sort of right now the sage, right? The sage equal to heaven monkey is literally telling his shifu, this part of me is this, like, is hard as this, and that part of me is strong as this, and if you cannot deal with those ladies, I can do it for you. That's what happens in historical 西游记. It creates like even like people who think they know 西游记, or they want to put it up there, right, as this precious things, well, when they actually find out historically this thing has been done like over and over, edited and then changed and then served different purposes, and oh yeah, Sun Wukong would say he would literally talk about his anus and his ness and how hard they are, and he will literally tell his shifu is, if you cannot deal with this ladies, I can do it for you, don't worry. Like when they get to the kingdom of all women, like very old version. Now you don't actually read it from the contemporary version. It actually makes perfect sense, because that's how the story happened in history. Hundreds of years, storytellers who are like literally sitting there every evening. You come, you pay money, you sit there, listen to their tell you story. So they have to make every day end up on a hook, on a cliff. First, second, it has to add a little bit color in it, Just like, it has to have sex. It has to have those little things that the ancient people, they don't have. They don't have like Pornhub, like that you can access on internet. They have to have their own version, which is like happening in other forms, in drawings or in storytellings. So historically, these stories will always get added by every generation of storytellers with their spins. Whenever it comes to the 女妖精, the female 妖怪, oh, they're all sexy and pretty, and they don't, they come up to you and then they say all types of completely just like, even to contemporary people, pretty outrageous things. That happens all the time in 西游记, like the actual version, right? But then as it becomes printed and now becomes like a classic, and it actually goes into schools and textbooks, you can't have those things. So it gets like cleaned up. So the whole argument about Sun Wukong shouldn't fall in love with anybody like a normal guy, right, is what we believe it is, because that's how his image has been sort of created by contemporary interpretation, animation, television. And so he is this guy he's the monkey who like that is not even an area that would be touched. But historically, if you look at how people make up stories about him, oh, they don't shy away from that. It's he's a monkey who lived hundreds and thousands of years, and he has magic. So I mean, yeah, what are the chances that he doesn't use his body parts? I'm just saying. Yeah, a lot of classic literature like in the world are all having this, right? Like if you actually look at their origins and how they've been dealt with in history, some of them are just like pretty wacky. Spider Sister, if in the game, I mean, everybody likes number 4. I think that's without question, but they're all pretty cute. I think supposedly number 5 is the prettiest. Number 3 is the gentle, lovely lady. Number 1 is the big sister. Number 2 is like Wang Xifeng in 西游记, right? She runs the family business, so she's the green one. She's the housekeeper one, very strong. And then number 4 is the everyone's wife in the game. So everyone calls her wife, and everyone's like most of the gamers these days are saying in DLC they all want to go up to Celestial Palace and beat everybody up so that they can get number 4 back. Hi from Serbia. What time is it there? Evening? Be like evening. So, as a drama reviewer, like I said in the title of the stream, I am not doing that many dramas right now. Until I finish doing the Sun Wukong thing, it will be like this. I'll still be watching certain dramas, and if it's worth talking about, I will. But then, the other one I'm watching is the spy drama on iQIYI, Dark Night and Dawn, the Nie Yuan and Chen Zheyuan one. It's actually sandwiched between the War of Faith earlier this year and earlier on the really bad one, Lonely Hero's Journey. All from the same platform. It's kind of sandwiched in between, which is production quality, storytelling quality, not as good as War of Faith, but acceptable to a level. It's not completely not making sense, right? Overall still making sense, but I think it's because production quality wise and also casting, like the younger actors are not as good and doing a good enough job as War of Faith. So Dark Knight and Dawn is okay, but you can definitely tell the roughness of the production. Visually, prop, lighting, it all has that rough television look instead of a more coherent artistic sort of direction that you have in War of Faith that gives you more cinematic sense of the storytelling. And then the younger ones, Chen Zheyuan he feels very out of place. I'm not saying he's not doing hard work. Like, I can tell he really does try to do well, but in the drama he doesn't feel like he's a Mingguo person. Like, no matter how hard I try to convince myself, he still reads like a 21st century young guy. Like, you cannot believe he is a 1940s, 1950s policeman. Like, it just does not read like that, no matter how hard I try. And then for the other couple of people, even worse. Xingfei, Yao Anna, they are just so out of place. So not feeling like people of that era. Even Nie Yuan, I think Nie Yuan, like, they didn't help him with styling to make him look like he is also a person of that era. So that drama's just overall production quality is not good enough. But the story is not stupid, as, say, Lonely Hero's Journey, where nothing makes logical sense. Like, there's no way spies would be acting like that. It's completely against basic logic, right? This drama, Dark Knight, doesn't have that. It's written by the same scriptwriter who wrote War of Faith. You can tell, like, it has brain, but its overall production standard is it's not very good. So I'm like, it's okay to watch, but not very impressed. And kind of, you can tell on internet it also doesn't really get much attention. So it kind of reflects that situation. Anything else? Yeah, those are the dramas I'm watching. Not that many, but I've already tried my best while I'm doing all the game videos. Do you have, like, to re-record some of your hour-long videos? No, I just like I write down all the points I need to talk about, and then I'll just glance at it. Okay, that's the next point I'm gonna talk about. And then I finish talking about it, and then when I edit, I cut out all the ahs and repeated things and slips and cars running in the background and motorcycles going. Like that's how I do it. I know like some people write perfect script and then they put a teleprompter and they film themselves while that's ongoing. So they do it that way. I don't do it that way. I find that's even more work. So I'd rather just like list points, right? I'm gonna say 3 good things about this drama, 4 good things, 4 bad things about it, and then I just like note it, and then I just say it. So like I don't just like go free script, like completely not prepared, but then I don't write down every word I say because that's too much work. It's not, to me it does not work well. Some people do it, like they have teleprompters and stuff, but to me it's too much work. Right? It only makes sense for me to do it the way I do it. So for those like Black Myth Wukong video, I just have like, you look at it, it's a lot of things, but it's just like I would write this type of thing. I don't know if you can see. And so like I just remind myself all the points I need to talk about, basically like that. And then I just talk through that. And I still forget things because the game is crazy. It has so many things going on. Yeah, I did finish the game. I'm actually on game +2 now. So I'm running the 3rd time, believe it or not. So I finished the whole game during that week that I told you in my weekly video. I just finished it. So it's literally, I just finished it. And then I started Game Plus because in this game, you at least have to run it 3 times to collect all the relics. So the relics are 6 relics, but then when you get one, you have an extra ability. And then every sense has 3. So eyes have like 3 dots that you can light up. And you can only do it once in one game. You get 6 of them: the eye, the ear, the nose, the tongue, and also like the mind. So you have 6, and then you play through the whole game. You light up 1 dot for each, and then you have 2 more left for each. So technically you can have 16. You can have 18. 6 times 3, 18 full sort of light bulbs lit up for your abilities. So this game, no matter what you do, you have to run through it 3 times at least to get all the relics. And then in terms of all the armor pieces that you can build in the game, and then you eventually upgrade to the ultimate level, like the 仙品. So it becomes like like a deity level armor. And because there are so many sets of armors, when you upgrade them, you need material. And there's a particular type of material, which is a fabric, that you get limited number of every round. So if you play through 6 chapters, one time at the end of it, you can get 14 of them, I think. And they're limited. You can't get any more. You collect them from boxes, you buy them from people, but there's limited number. So you have to run it. If you want to upgrade every piece of armor to the highest level that's available in the game, you have to run it like 6 times, I think, at least. Given you're not missing any piece of fabric while you're playing those, which is insane. I don't really want to do that much in terms of like getting all the armors upgraded, because I will have no use of them. Like those armors have different buffs on them, different sets of armor. Certain armors can make you very high tenacity, so you don't get, like people hit you and you actually get extra energy. And then there are ones that actually cut down your own life, but then increase your damage a lot. So if you're really good at playing game and you dodge really well, you use that and you can beat your enemies faster. There are ones that make you stay in water and then getting more health back. There are ones that can make you poison other people better. So if you actually get all those armors to the highest level, you're gonna have to run the game 6 times, at least. Which I don't think that's necessary, because I'm not gonna play all those functions anyway. I can't do them anyway. But at least 3 times is like the, and also to get the full level, which is 342. So for your character, you start as like level 1, right? And you go up. At the end of the first round, usually people can get to 90 to above 90. Usually above 90 is the first round. And if you run it second time, it's likely you get to about 160 to 80. And then so you run the third time, you probably go over 200. And sometimes you have to run to the fourth time to eventually get to 342 level. So the reason being that this character, the maximum full level for your Destined one is 342. And that's the age of Sun Wukong. When he first discovered that that's how long he will live until he dies as a stone monkey. And he definitely wasn't happy about it. So he went down and then crossed out all the names of the monkeys. So that's when he found out that he lives to 342 years. So the game makes the full level of you 342. To get that, you basically have to play at least 3 times. There's no way you're gonna get like a higher... It would be like completely boring for you to do it in the first round, because it's like repeating and fighting boring enemies. So you, technically speaking, running the game 3 times will get you all the relics, 16 of them, 6 times 3, and give you all the super abilities. And then if you want to max out your level, you just do it until you get to 342 level. And then the other leftover motive for you is to upgrade all your armor sets to the top, which will cost you probably 6 rounds of the game. And the game is really weird, is every time you reincarnate, so you go into the next game plus, your enemies, their overall health and then their hit on you increases by a percentage, and it caps at 6. So you play the game by the 6th time, the 6 rounds, it caps. The 7 times you go into it, the damage of the boss will no longer increase. It will always stay there. So you max out all the numbers after 6. So if you finish the 6 rounds of playing the game, any future ones you can keep playing, which is unlimited, is gonna be the same, which is like your maximum damage is the same, and then the bosses will remain the same in terms of their health bar and how much damage they dealt at you. It caps at 6. That's the design of the game. Some people like go crazy and they play it 81 times, because I've seen people actually have files online. They've already played it 81 rounds, which is 6 chapters times 81. I don't know, like, why they do it. Like that they could play it with blindfold on. that will still work. So that's how the game works out. I'm in round 3. So I've played through the first time. I already run through game plus. And now I'm in the 3rd time. Chapter 3 just started. Because what I'm trying to do is at least get all the 6 relics times 3 done. So I will run through 3. I will run 3 times of the game. And then if I do any further, I'll just see if it's worth doing it. Because personally, I don't think. Like, I don't need those armors. Some of those armors, yeah, you can upgrade them to bow. So what? You know, like, and there's certain spells I just never liked. And I will never play them anyway. For example, the rock solid. Like, there's a version. You either are invisible, which is called cloud step in English, or so the slot of the magic when you go into battle is limited. You can only have 1 in one area. So if you pick invisibility, which is cloud step, then you cannot pick rock solid, which is in a second or 2 you become like rock solid. And if somebody is about to hit you, you become a rock. You can defend yourself and then send that back to them. You either pick that or you turn invisible and they cannot see you. They fight your decoy and you stand on the side, you charge up and then you hit them. So for that mechanic, you can only pick 1. If you pick 1, you cannot have the other while you're fighting a boss. And I just don't like rock solid. So I never use it. And some people like it, so they don't use invisibility. And for your armor, there's one set that's particularly built for rock solid. if you are in that armor and in rock solid, it adds a lot of things for you. Also for invisibility, there's another set of armor and another set of curios that's kind of designed for that. So if you never play the other set, what's the point of upgrade it to top? Like, you never use it anyway. So, but some people are just like, they want a full collection, right? They want to do everything. They want to have the 成就, all the like you have all the platinum, like whatever, you know, like you collect all the seeds, you collect all the curios, you've done all those things, you get all the gourds. Some people are just collecting things, right? And then because some of those items are dropped like completely randomly. It's like a random generator. And there's one item I still haven't got. I'm in +2 now. I'm in game round 3. There's still one mask I didn't get. No matter how hard I try in my previous 2 rounds to get it from this particular little Yao Guai. I killed him a million times. He didn't give me that achievement. Yeah. Like, there's this one mask that looks ugly. It's from this bug in chapter 4, the green one, the annoying one. And when you hit him, there's like a 1%, I don't know, like what is the number, but like he will drop a mask that has 2 tentacles and it looks absolutely ugly. And you'll never use it. But if you don't get it, you don't get the full collection achievement. That's the only item I haven't gotten now. That everything else, like the seeds, the curios, all the gourds, all the upgrades of the wine, like I've gotten all of them. I just don't have that one mask and I can't get it no matter how hard I try. I am so pissed. I killed this thing for a million times. He never dropped one for me. What can I do? And I hate that, but like that's the one thing I haven't gotten. And these things are completely random. Like there's one item supposed to be like a lot of people were like, we can't get it, we tried so hard. I was like, believe it or not, I got 3 in a row. So I went into this place and then I was trying to get one item from another guai. But then on the way, I have to fight this type of guai that I really don't care. Yet I killed 3 of them and everyone dropped one item for me. So it was like 3 items in a row. And I was like, that could happen? I didn't know that. I didn't even want it. And then they just like dropped 3 consecutively. And that's like not making sense. And then the thing I want, again, no matter how hard I try, it just don't give me that. I'm like, okay, I find like second round is so easy that it's starting to get boring, because second round is the round where you become, because you're so equipped with weapons and armors, and the bosses haven't increased that much. They only increased by a little, like the number plays out in the second round as the easiest because they don't increase that much, but you have increased a lot. So all the bosses you beat in second round is like nothing. Everybody, you breathe. Like even like the Yellow Long and the Tiger Vanguard, and everybody is just like so easy. Maybe like if you're not careful, maybe you die the first time if you didn't pay attention, and the second time there's no way you lose. Like you just breathe through the whole thing. So the second round of the game, I just got through it so fast. It's like, it was like yesterday I was in chapter 1, now today I'm in chapter 4. Literally it's that fast because it's so easy. Like you just kill everybody, boom, 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 and it's done. And then now I'm in third round. I find third round becomes immediately becomes harder than 2, because now the bosses have increased by another, at least twice as strong as the first time, but then you haven't increased that much. So it's like third round is definitely harder than second round, but it's more fun than the first round because you have everything. Whereas first round, you don't get everything until like the 5th chapter almost, and you are at the end of the game now. So I think the third round is the golden zone, where it's not super easy. It's like if you don't do anything, you can still get through, no, but then you can use everything. All the transformation, all the armor, pretty much like weapons you already craft, and you're so rich, you have so much money. Like I have more than 1 million money I will never be able to spend in the game. So you're like completely fully loaded, right, and going into it. And then you start to think about ways of, can I try this combination of playing this boss with this weird setup and see if it works? So it becomes an experiment. So every time you go to fight a boss, you change your set of armor and then your weapon and the things you take and even the drink. And you just want to see, if I combine it like this, how weird it will look like. Like, for example, for this time, I'm gonna completely try poisoning the other guy and see if he dies of poison instead of like me hitting him. So third round becomes like every time I fight a boss, I'm doing that. I'm like, let me try this. Let's see if I do this with that, what's gonna happen to this person? And it's a bit sick, but it's really fun. I don't know how many people are playing it that way, but I am doing it. I've spent like, I don't know how many hours, definitely over 150 hours now. Now a lot of that is actually going around shooting photos. It's like trying to figure out the best angle and the best focal length for a photo, and then also freeze, like in the middle of a fight, right? You press shooting photo, and then you start to angle your camera and trying to take a photo of an epic fight. And I think a lot of hours actually got spent on that for me. And also going around and shooting all the architecture. Like I actually recorded a lot of the running through the architecture, and those took me a lot of time, a lot of hours to do that. So it's not even playing the game. It's literally going into the game and then taking pictures. This game's picture taking is so cool. You need at least 4 rounds? I feel like you probably need 5. Is 4 enough? Do you have enough of the fabric? Because you need 6, right? For every set of armor to get to the top, you need 6. And every round of game, you get only 14. And you have how many sets of the armors? That there are a couple of sets that do not get upgraded anyway, but then the ones that can get upgraded. I mean, there's even like some basic ones I haven't even made, which you can make. I didn't even make the basic one. Like the first level one, it didn't even make. I have the material, I have the money, I just don't use it at all, so I don't even have it. Is it 4 rounds? Okay, I thought it's 5 or 6, but anyway, I know it caps at 6 because people have tested it already. It's like your level and the enemy level, enemy's damage and enemy's health bar caps at 6, 7, and 8 and 100, they all count. Like from 7 onwards, it never moves. The number just stops there. Yeah, so the armor thing is just like if you really want it, right? You just want it, like when you open it up, it's all perfect lined up and it's like all golden. Like the bar under them are not purple and they're all golden color, and it's like, it's all shenzhen. Yeah, but you never use them. like there are a couple of them I will never use. 铜头铁臂, like the 玄铁套. I just don't use 铜头铁臂. So even if I make it, the green one, I will never wear it anyway. The last long, no, yellow long, right? Yeah, he has he's aggressive at, like he walks. So that's one thing you can take advantage is if you're far away from him and you're early, like half, like he still has more than half of his health bar, he will be walking. He wouldn't constantly attack you. Once he gets to like a third of the blood, like health, then he starts to add. So his set of moves, he will add a couple more at the end of each set. And that's when it gets harder. So if you can find a way to stop him, to stagger him when he gets to a third of the health bar, to make sure like he gets frozen or stopped in the position, so where you can just keep hitting him, it wouldn't be that hard. Like if you let him go wild in the last third of his health bar where he does not stop anymore, then it's just a bit tricky. Yellow Long. But Yellow Long's transformation is so cool. If you use it wisely, like if you become a master of his transformation, you can beat any boss. You can beat the final 大圣, the second stage, fully only with 小黄龙 transformation. Given that you set him up right, you add the 百目, the 100 eye guy, with all the damage, you take a couple of pills, you put the 吉祥灯, the lantern on, your curio, you turn yourself invisible, you have the needle on, you set that guy in the water, and then you transform into Yellow Long to fight the second stage of the Sun Wukong's broken body. And then if you charge yourself all the beads right up, focus for the Yellow Long right, you can kill Sun Wukong only with Yellow Long. Like the final big, like 3000阳春, Yellow Long has if you fully charge him, he has a big heavy attack that's red, and it's like 3 cuts. Each cut will just like cut at least 25% of health off Sun Wukong. But you have to set him up right. Literally, you have to like get everything, like everything in working. And it's actually doable. I've seen people done it. I'm like, oh wow, that's possible. Cool. So Yellow Long is definitely worth fighting. You have to get through. So here's the only transformation where you can use see-through when you fight your enemy. And if you are a see-through master, you have to get Yellow Long, because he can see through for you. He also does the light and heavy attack with see-through with his knife. He's the only one who can do it, I think. All the other transformations don't have that function. Yeah, the second round, 小黄龙, I think for me it's twice. Like I did it twice. The first time I didn't pay attention to one thing and I got killed like unexpectedly. Second time I got through it. So second time is the easiest. But first time it's like more than 10 times for me. It's like 3 hours? I feel like that afternoon, I was just like keep running towards him. I still have in my head the picture of you in that evening mountain, right? You get from the shrine and you run up and you charge up and you start running towards him. That first moment, because I did it so many times, it's still in my brain. Another one still in my brain is the first chapter snake. I also did the whole thing, like you walk up to him, you charge to 2 focus point, and you start to run towards him. And when he jumps up, you release so you can hit him when he comes up to you. That's the first move I do for every fight with the white snake. And because I did it so many times, I still remember the visual when I did it. Like when you charge up and you jump up and you hit him for the first time. So the white snake, the Yellow Long probably are... And also the tiger is hard to fight. The Rui village tiger, not the blood pool tiger. The blood pool tiger is actually quite easy once you figure out his move. He's very set. He wouldn't do anything new. As long as you remember, like his 前摇, just before everything he does, what he's doing, you know the next thing. He's either coming up to you, hit you, or he's pulling out his swords. He's moving in the water as tornado. Like he has very clear signal about what he's about to do. So for the blood pool tiger vanguard, as soon as you remember all the things he does, it's no longer difficult to beat him because you can tell what he's about to do. But the yin tiger is harder. The silver cat in the village. He's a proper boss. Because a lot of his slow moves actually is camouflaging. He would be turning it 3 times, and it's only the 3rd time it actually cuts you. The first 2 times you can just stand next to him and it's not gonna cause you damage. But you don't know that, so you would be dodging. But then when you're dodging, then your timing is off. So when the 3rd time comes around, it actually cuts you, you get cut. And you don't actually realize that until you test it out with your life. It's so funny, like fighting the yin tiger in the village. It's because you get panic. you really panic because he's so close to you and he starts to swing his sword, right? And you immediately dodge, but you shouldn't, because if it's that move, the first 2 rounds actually don't touch you. Even if you're standing there, it actually causes no damage. It's the last one that does. But if you dodge before that, you get cut. And I'm like, who designed this? Like, it's just like so lying, because you thought he's gonna cut you, but it's not. Well, for the DLC, now what I want for the DLC, I want the DLC to have the village to have more people. Oh, thanks for the, I didn't see somehow. Thanks for the super chat, Alex. He's like, how am I supposed to pronounce that? Is it Chinese or English? Thank you for your super chat. Happy Mid-Autumn Festival. Yeah, it was a week ago, 10 days ago. But thank you. This is the Mid-Autumn day that I didn't even bother to get mooncake. I can actually make them myself now, but I'm so lazy I didn't want to do it. Yeah, the game is, so far I'm just really happy that I tried out this game. Otherwise it would be an experience I don't have in my life, which would be a pity. And I cannot wait till the DLC. So I want the DLC to have the full village, the Rui village, where they can have more of those deities, the zodiac animals. It would be so cool to have the rat, the bull, the rabbit, everybody in there. I feel like they probably planned for it initially, because they had, I think I read an interview, I watched a video recently Yang Qi did, which is number 2 in the Hosu creative team. Number 1 is Feng Ji, number 2 is Yang Qi. He said they had initially 11 chapters for the whole game, and they couldn't finish it, so they cut it down to 6. So if it's 11, right, it gives you the feeling that at least there should be about 8 to 10 zodiac deities in the village. Maybe they're missing a couple, who are dead. You could totally have a tragic story, one of them are dead, so they don't have it anymore. But I feel like the village needs to have the full pack of at least 10 people in there. It would be so cool. All the there should be a sheep, a rat, a bull, a rabbit. Now you have 4 already, right? And then you should have the pig, snake, the horse. I guess they have horse, but horse is not zodiac. Horse is the sad horse guy. It would be so cool to have that village all occupied. DLC, that would be so. Gameplay streaming, can't do it. That means I'll have a PC, which I have to buy a PC with a graphic card. Why? Spend $4,000, $5,000 just so that I can stream games that I can't even play very well. You cannot necessarily very well stream on PS5, honestly. You have to have a computer. And usually when people stream, they actually have to have 2 computers. So one is running the game, the other is just acting as monitor, and then from that one, it goes out with the signal of the game playing so that you don't get affected. Otherwise, your computer is, because you're running streaming software and gaming at the same time on the same computer, it's really gonna stagger everything. So they probably have to, I feel like for a lot of professionals, they're doing it on one computer, and then they have another computer that's getting the signal out, acting as a monitor, and then having the whatever OBS running, and then that one is streaming them. And they even have a camera, right? They have a camera filming themselves. So that whole setup is money. And I'm I'm not even game streamer. I can't do that. And you're gonna see how bad I'm at game playing, and then you're gonna see how aggressive I can get when I'm pissed, which is not pretty. And I don't want people to see that. You don't want to see me getting angry, which is not pretty. I know. So, because I get so frustrated. Oh my god. Naja would be cool to have. Naja would be a cool character to have. the zodiac animals will be cool to have. 四姐, they really should save her. I have no problem with that. I think they should there should be a plot where maybe she's not dead, you know, because in the game it's very vague. The crane says, I'm gonna make sure she turns into a good pill. Does that mean it's already happened, or is it not yet happening? And why do they have to take her instead of like the other sisters? What's her special? Is she like previously with like other incarnation of this monkey? Like she has some relationship with it, or you know, like why? It's the game is very vague. It doesn't tell you anything explicitly. It's all guessing. Like you have to piece it together. So I have the feeling that if they're doing DLC, maybe she's not dead. She's just like kidnapped, so that there's a reason for some future plot to happen. So she's a plot device, right? In that sense. And also, like, just because of her popularity now, after the game's release, everybody is like, they want to save her. So, like, it would only make sense for Game Science to, in the DLC, to actually keep her in it. Like, she will show up in some way. It would be stupid for Game Science to not do it. So, I'm pretty sure she's not dead. She's not turned into a pill yet. And she's, like, left open for future development. I think she's the most popular character. Also, Chu Bajie is also a very popular character in the game. I also really like the Xu dog. I forgot about him and I feel so guilty. Like for the zodiac animal, they're all adorable. But I think the dog and the tiger, they're so adorable. The dog he's smiling all the time, right? He has the happy face, and his dubbing is cute, like particularly Chinese dubbing. He always calls you 好汉, right? And then they just like completely like make you feel so good about yourself, and he gives you freebies. The dog gives you freebies all the time. Every time you go to him, it's like just 套个单词, and he will give you something super expensive. And then he would like the animation of his movement is so cute when he gets the pill. Before he gives it to you, he would just he would do that, and I just love the animation of that dog. He's so adorable. And then an armor tiger is also like, he's so cool. Not only like he upgrades things, he gives you an opportunity to repeatedly fight and challenge him. And also he's a silver tiger. So if you freeze the frame when you're fighting with him, when he's up in the air, and you freeze him and take photos, he has absolutely adorable white paw. Like his paws are white. I don't know why, but I find his white paw so adorable. It's because the other tigers are orange colored, right? He's the only white paw tiger. Also, Yang Jian turns into a white tiger if you fight him when you transform into Guangzhi. When you transform into the wolf, if you're fighting Yang Jian, he will turn into a white tiger. And absolutely adorable too. It's like a baby tiger, and the tiger will be just like doing all those absolutely cute movement. Again, if you freeze in that second, take a photo, you're gonna be so impressed by the cuteness of Yang Jian. Yeah, I can't. Having a cat, no. I love cats, but I can't have them. It's too much responsibility. And I wouldn't trust anyone. It's like if I have to go away for a month or two traveling and giving the cat to whom? I do have a friend who has, but they have a dog and a cat at their place. So it's not gonna be good for your cat to end up suddenly with two animals they don't know. So, I'm not having a cat right now in my life. Maybe, who knows, in the future. Yeah, but big tigers are adorable. They're big cats, you know, tigers and big cats. Can you say? Um, who else? I didn't expect 猪八戒 would be this adorable, but they made it so cute. Even when he gets big and start to fight you, he's still cute. And the dubbing for 猪八戒 is so good in Chinese. The English is pretty good too, but the Chinese one is just so good. 拉棉花屎呢，老猪在里头都快淹晕了。Fox be raised as a pet, probably not a good idea. They're very noisy. Fox actually cries out a lot and they're very loud. And also they stink. The problem with foxes, they smell really bad and they are very loud. You wouldn't want that to actually in an enclosed space. If you have a like huge garden and backyard, and I mean, then that's a different story. But if you're keeping it indoor, you're gonna go crazy. All the women in Wukong, yeah, talking about like not having women characters and not having diversity. And some of those early reviewers, they're so funny. They didn't even play through the game. They didn't like open at least half of the content of the game because the game hides about 40% of its bosses. If you don't go and explore, you're gonna completely miss them. You can still play through it, but you don't find them. So some of the early reviewers who say, "Oh, this game doesn't have this and that and that," I'm like, you missed it. It's not the game's fault. You know, you just spend a bit more time. You're rushing. That's why you didn't find it. Which boss fight impressed you most? Which one is impressive? It's hard to say. Psychological trauma, probably the heaviest one the heaviest three would be the snake, the yin tiger, and the 小黄龙, the yellow long. In terms of like how many times I tried and got frustrated. The other ones you can, in many ways, even when they're hard, you can figure out a way to bypass. Like if you're not good at fighting, then you can use magic, you can use this and that, you can get around. But those three probably traumatic experience-wise, those were the worst. But in terms of fight design, I think the third chapter boss is the best design because it's just visually, cinematically, and stage-wise the best. The tempo is impressive looking, and you actually get to run into it because of you get shrunk down. You fight him once, you fight the macaque. Second time you fight him again for the third time, and each time it works differently. And it's like visually just really stunning to fight the third chapter boss, the 3-stage fight. It's not the hardest, but it's like cinematically, performance-wise, and also if you don't read any, you're going in blind, you don't know what's gonna happen, you're gonna get so up and down with that fight because you don't know what's gonna happen. You fight him first stage, you're guessing he's a boss, he would have a second one, and then the second one you end up in his bag and you're fighting a different guy and you think, okay, this one is ending, what's gonna happen? You turn into that guy and you start to run across this bridge where you don't know what you're doing, and then you come across Yellow Brow for the third time and you're like, is this ending anywhere? Do we have a fourth stage? That whole psychological thing, if you're doing it for the first time, right, it's just so like that whole run will be like 20 minutes and you're gonna be up and down all the time. So that whole sequence is exciting, but it's not the hardest fight, but its design is really well done. So I think for all the boss fights, end of chapter 3 is the best design fight. And then in terms of fighting, another big performance one would be the secret ending one with Yang Jian, right? You fight Yang Jian, he has like 3 stages pretty much within one bar, but he has like a second bar on top. You fight him and then he turns into the big one, and you first fight the useless 4 heavenly kings because they're totally performance, and you, no matter what you do, you're gonna win that fight anyway. And then you fight the giant blue lion version of Yang Jian, which actually, if you don't know how to fight, is gonna give you a problem. Because initially I didn't know, and I got killed more times as the giant stone monkey than Sun Wukong, and I was like, oh. And then I figured out you have to do the heavy attack to recharge yourself, otherwise you don't get a bar up. And I'm like, I'm so stupid. But then by the end of that, then so that's a really interesting fight in terms of you just become a giant, and that punching is just so satisfying because you become mountain size and you're fighting each other in this destroying landscape way. So that's probably that's a lion. Yeah. I think they actually used the model for different Yao Guai for the giant form of Yang Jian. So they probably designed it initially for different Yao Guai, but then they decided to move that into Yang Jian's giant form. Because in the book, when Yang Jian becomes the giant form, he will look like somebody with blue face and red hair. So in the book's description, his Fa Tian Xiang Di, his giant form, is a blue-faced, red-haired monster. But it's not specific in terms of whether it's a lion or any other animal or human. It's just blue-faced, long teeth, red hair. So and the Qingshi, the blue lion, looks pretty close. Like it has red hair, it has a blue face. So they use that for Yang Jian's giant form. Which is, like, think about as a human, he's just like the handsome, cool guy who's like almost 2 meters tall and skinny. And then when he becomes a giant form, he's this fat lion who's like definitely obese. Like the waist is so huge for that lion. I'm like, what happened to you? Are you basically just a fat lion who just like usually just lie to everybody and use your magic to keep yourself looking like a model when you are actually a fat guy? Fighting Yang Jian, the easy thing to do is you get Shililing, the stone transformation, the slow stone transformation, and then you get Ba Jiao Shan, the fan from chapter 5. You have these two things, you're gonna win fighting him. In the most unexpected ways. To get rid of his protection, right? He has a shield bar on top, and the fan gets rid of his shield bar very quickly. And then the stone also, like just by Koto, you just bow down to him and it destroys gradually his protection bar. And once the protection bar is gone, you can fight him much easier. Do you think Black Myth is gonna get GOTY, Game of the Year? No. Because they're not gonna let it happen. It's a journalist and media voting. It's not by players, right? The votes come from different outlets of media, and right now they're in the situation where they're completely aware if they vote the game as Black Myth Wukong, gamers are gonna say, oh, this is a triumph of like gaming and what it should be, which they know they're not gonna get congratulated by, because they would know that people would think it should happen like this anyway. If they don't vote it, right, they're gonna get hate, but then they are already hated anyway. So in that case, might as well just like not, because the thing is, whether these media voted as the one or not as the one, the fact that they get hated by gamers is not going to change at all. The situation is for them. If you think from their point of view, they're not going to gain anything by giving this to the game. So might as well just not give it anyway. And just so you all think of me as this, so might as well just keep being this. What can you do? We're still going to be here. You can't get rid of us. To me, I think it would not make sense for them to give it to Black Myth Wukong. And then well, definitely they will get booed and hated, but they're already booed and hated anyway. And it would actually, to them, it would make more sense just to keep going down that route, you know, like 一条路走到黑嘛。Get to the end of it, right? It's their character setup, right? Their character setup is like this already. It's not like they turn around and suddenly appeal to you like gamers. It's gonna change people's opinion about them anyway. It's just gonna make themselves look even more stupid. So might as well just keep going. So it probably is not gonna get Game of the Year. And then it would just be, who cares? You know, in terms of whether it gets the award, the money is made, and that many copies are sold, and gamers are gonna just be there and waiting for the DLC, and they're still gonna play it. Who cares if you give it an award or not? It's sort of how much you can trust in this type of journalism and media, and right, like eventually it becomes, by the time it gets flipped to the point where their credibility needs to be backed up by games, right? And like the game actually would give you credibility if you rate it properly. Like when it ends up being that, then they wouldn't want to play the game anymore, because these people are in this, right? All those journalists and those media, they're in it not because they like gaming. They just want to find a way to play the power game. They just want a way to exercise the type of power and control that they can't get anywhere else. Right. And so this is just a way for them to have that, to satisfy that ego. And if one day this becomes not viable anymore, like it no longer works, they'll find something else. They'll go somewhere else, find another niche and another thing to keep playing the game. Like the Sweet Baby thing is the same thing, right? These people, because honestly, they can't do anything else. Like they can't go and fly a plane. They're not capable. Then they don't have that many merits. They can't really achieve anything realistically for the world. Therefore, they make up this thing that does not exist, and then they get power from it. That's the only way they can satisfy their need for control and power. So these things get created out of thin air, and they use that to blackmail and kidnap people. That's what it is. And so like whether the game gets GOTY, to me is like, oh, who cares? What I care about is not whether this game gets awards from a Western like media. Like from a Chinese person point of view, it's like, who gives a shit about like what you give an award for? To me, I care more about when are you gonna go get the DLC out, right? And then are you gonna do this and that for the game? And can you fix this and that? And then, you know, what's the future plans for those things? And will there be more companies in China now who will be focused on making single player game? What type of future we're looking at? Is this going to change how the industry is viewed in China? Is it going to be positive from now on, the censorship thing, or the industrial sort of like process of doing it, and government support and then public's opinion about gaming? Is that going to change? Like those things are far more important than like, who cares about Game of the Year that's granted by a foreign people, when honestly majority of the buyers of the game is still are still from China. I'm not saying international, not a lot, like it's a lot more than usual or than expectation, but still the biggest market is still in China, right? So whether this game can function properly in China's current everything, right? General public's view, because gaming in China has been looked at as the wrong thing to do for young people, particularly. From parents' point of view, students, you're not studying, you're playing games, it's bad. Even for government's perspective, it's been really, really it's like a taboo thing in China, like for ages, for decades. So whether this game can switch that around and make gaming becoming sort of accepted, and then like make people see the potential. Because I think this time, because of Black Myth Wukong, the government also sees the potential of gaming, not just like sort of in terms of creating more money, like GDP, whatever, but also sort of culturally, right? It's a tool for China's culture to sort of expand its influence. But also another thing is to actually physically push other industries, or like like all things related to chips and computers and software, hardware. Like these are the things that actually pushes the reality forward. If it's not for gamers in this world, we will not get chips that run this fast. Be honest, right? Like, because of all the crazy gamers in this world who needs better performances of graphics and everything, that's why computer and technologies kept pushing the boundaries. Without these people's money and demand, you're not gonna have this whole industry growing to what it looks like now. And so as game becomes even more accepted, it's gonna push all the other industries around and then generate a lot of other things out of it. So the value of it starts to get noticed, and then I'd say the public opinion on gaming would change quite a lot due to the success of Black Myth in China. Right, so that probably is a lot more actually meaningful and in long term impactful than, say, who cares, IGN or whatever, like game of the year. It's in comparison, those things are completely trivial. Is going into drama industry pushed more? What do you mean by pushed more? I don't quite understand the sentence. Yeah, like all the extra money you can get from this project, right? Once you have the game out, all the characters, right? All the 周边, right? All the things you can develop from it, whether it's from the selling figurines, mangas, animations, all the other things that can go on for years and years. And if you DLC it right, you can DLC it for 20 years. Certain games did it in history very successfully. You can literally have a decades-long IP now if you do right with it. And all the things that can generate from that. Those are the things that actually matters. As for Game of the Year, it's just like, so you get Game of the Year. Is that gonna add even one, like sort of significantly more dime to your account when you're actually the game developer? Because people who play the game and like the game, they're gonna pay for it whether you get the award or not. They're not gonna buy it because it gets the award, So it actually doesn't really affect the game, and also because it's so popular, so many people have played it, and it's all the whole game is out there. Everybody knows everything about the game now. Everything has been sort of discovered, all the secrets. It's like open book for everyone to see, and people will make up their own mind about whether it's worth the money or who cares about your journalist's opinion. It's not like we don't have eyeballs, so. Yeah, there are so many action RPG coming out in the next couple of years. It will be interesting to see how that works out. I mean, personally, I would definitely try out. I mean, I've already booked Phantom Blade because I looked at it. This year they've released a couple of videos, right, about playing that. I'm like, wow, that is crazy. That's like some insane speed of fighting. You don't stop. You are like in it, and it just flows, and it's like just not even half a second stopping, and it looks so badass. Yeah, Phantom Blade is definitely something I want to try out. Black Myth Wukong 封神榜, yeah. I mean, if you want to dig from the Chinese mythology thing, there's so many things you can do. You're a gamer. No, I'm not a gamer. I'm so bad. I'm so bad at it. I know I'm bad. Because when I was young, I never tried it, right? I'm at this age where it's just like technically it's impossible to get that faster reaction time now. Unless like, I don't know, you get DNA upgrade. Like you go to a lab and you get injected with some kind of like reverse your telomere thing. You're at your peak when you're a teenager, and afterwards it's all downhill and you can't control it. It's just how naturally the brain works. All the connections and your muscles and all the reaction time just slows down, right? As you get older, you can't help it. I'm really bad at it, and I have, while I'm playing the game, I realize there's the one thing that I still haven't managed to sort out, which is I know I need to stay really calm and collected and see the person coming and then anticipate the attack and then dodge it at the right moment. And I know when I should be, but I can't help myself. And sometimes you get panic. Like you just go into panic mode. So you always dodge earlier than you should, and then you're always just reacting to the panic and fear in the moment, that you cannot actually do the right thing, when actually you should be completely just like stone-faced, and then not even having your heart rate raised. You should stay very stable and cool and see it, and then just don't panic before you need to move. Don't move. And playing this game just taught me this is so hard. Like every time before you go into a boss fight, you tell yourself, you stay calm, you don't dodge before you should, you wait till the attack happens, see clearly the move, and then dodge. You know the dodge. And you already fight this boss 10 times. You know when he's gonna hit you. Still, when the moment comes, you're still panicking and you just jump at the wrong time. And you hate yourself for it. It's like fighting against yourself. It's like, I have to completely be rational and not reacting to the sort of, like your body's like in its programming, the biological way of reacting is like jump, run away, but you cannot run away. You have to stay there and wait till the right moment to run away. That's the gaming dilemma of trying to fight against your physical response. Naturally, you can't stop it. It just happens, and you're like, no, don't panic, right? That's the hardest thing I find. Is I'm definitely getting better at it compared to when I first started the game, but I'm by no means good at it. It's like I have two of me in my head. It's like I can see, it's like that guy is doing that, so you need to wait just, and then your body did it before you even it's like your hand has a different idea about when you should be dodging than your head, and it's so hard. Like, how do you fight yourself? and so right now in the third round, I'm using the game to test myself, like trying to force myself to not panic. It's like, don't panic, you know you can beat this boss, just wait till he does this and then you jump. I'm forcing myself to do it, but it's so hard. It's so hard. If you play the game, you will know what I mean, right? And also, if you play a lot of action RPG, you probably understand what I mean. It's just such a anti-intuition thing. Because your intuition tells you to run away, to stay safe, to dodge, but then actually you shouldn't do it. You should wait till the right moment to do it. Where wind meets. Let me check the Chinese name, because I probably know the Chinese name, I just don't know the English title. There are a couple that's been sort of promoting in recent. Where wind? What is that? Nice horse. Okay. I'll see if I have the energy to do it. Although I have to say, gaming is exhausting. Okay, everywhere is English. What's the Chinese name? Where wind meet. Winds meet. 这能做的 swordsman。是 NetEase 网易的。I'm not becoming a gamer. Don't worry, it's not gonna happen. I'm so not a gamer. And I don't want to be like I see those gamer live streamer. I'm like, that's such a hard life. That's such an exhausting life. Do you see how many hours they live stream every day? And the next day they live on like takeaway, which I cannot do. I have to bake my own stuff, right? And then they're stuck in their chair like for 8 hours. I'm like, no. That does not look like a good life. And also there's so much stress. Because they would have to, whatever is popular now, they have to play it. And they have to keep going. The next new one come out, they have to try it. And it's like chasing dramas too. I have to watch one drama after another, after another. I have to watch 10 dramas at the same time. Like, watch 5 dramas at the same time is one thing. Play 5 games at the same time will kill you. 烟云16声 I know the title. I finally found the title. 烟云16声 didn't it get... Like, I think it's like a pretty debated one on internet. I have a feeling like I've seen people talking about it. It's not gonna go anywhere. I'm pretty sure I recently saw somebody saying that project is like really may not happen. I don't know. Like it's like, because I've seen a lot of people talk about it on China's internet about it may not happen. Who knows? We'll wait till it happens. Until it happens, you never know. 三国演义 is already being overused by Japanese people in gaming. Because 三国, Three Kingdom, it got made globally well known pretty much thanks to Japanese game industry, let's be honest. They've made so many games in so many different types and like over the last how many decades? Like they milk Three Kingdom like crazy. So that Three Kingdom becomes known globally mostly thanks to Japanese gaming. That's the fact of it. But because of that IP has been so used now, right? So if like a big AAA game in China wanna do a Three Kingdom, they have to almost find a new angle of doing it because it's all being done by Japanese people. 水浒 水浒 how are you gonna do it though? Because there are like 108 different fighters. And it's anti-government basically. Anti-establishment, right? So that's gonna be a slightly tricky how you play with the game in that. I really want a really good civilization. I think there are a couple in the making and they're not released yet from China. It's like building a city, building a kingdom type of game. That like I always like that type of game. There's one game many years ago that now you can only play on a simulator or something because it's so old that I used to play a lot. It's like Rise of the Dragon or Rise of the Empire. Like what's the like I don't remember the English title now. I used to play it a lot, but it's so old now. You cannot really play it on any thing anymore. This one. Emperor, Rise of the Middle Kingdom. Anybody who's played this before? I love this game. You know, you have like panda and crocodile like in this game. Like alligators that will walk up the shore and eat your people if you're like if you pick the wrong location to build your city. I love the name. I love the music and also the sound effects. It's ridiculously fun. The sound effect in this game. Anybody who's played it? It's great. Rise of the Middle Kingdom. That was old game. Yeah, I like this. And there are similar games now, but better. It's been made in China. That's coming out soon, like in a year or two. I've seen a couple of trailers. It looks pretty good. Yeah, I've played that, but that type of game is like not action, right? You're basically management the whole thing. It's planning and management and deal with like accident, like suddenly fire happens. So if there could be, you know what would be interesting to have a game that's completely focused on the farming culture of China, because Chinese people are peasants, right? So we want to grow everything and anything, and the first thing people think about going to the moon is like, can we grow food down there? Like, is the soil farmable? Like, that's the only thing Chinese people care about. They don't care about other things about the moon. Everyone cares about is the soil farmable, which is just really funny. It would be cool to have like a farming game. That's like you can pick a location to start with certain crops, and then you build up, and over time you can expand, and you can have like a huge farming. Like you can have all human civilization's key stages of farming, whether it's wheat, rice, or like raising cattle, or you can fish, like all those first ground level industry, you know, like food production, like a farmer simulator of the whole world. That would be so cool. Yeah, but like adding a bit like more, I don't know, like with what we have these days, right? With technology and stuff, AI or like Unreal engines and stuff, like what you can do to push the boundaries of that type of game. Because this type of game are designed like pretty much in the like, I don't know, like old RPG back in the 90s. I have never heard about that, but I know like there are so many Japanese games that are Three Kingdom based. Anyway, gaming is interesting. It's definitely more interesting in drama because you can interact with it. But drama is my channel, so I'll keep doing dramas. Any Jin Yong's work? Jin Yong, I've read all of them, I think, over the years since I was a kid. Most Chinese people have read probably most of it. There's so many adaptations, that's the problem, right? For each IP, you pick one, maybe. You can do that. Jin Yong's novels had its best times, I'd say, in drama adaptation, probably in the 80s and 90s. Mostly done still by Hong Kong. 80s, 90s are the golden time. But Jin Yong's novels are very time-specific, history specific, and its values are, I don't know, like right now it's just a weird time for 2020s people to adapt Jin Yong stuff. They tend to not really get the gist or the soul of the story. They often make it really odd looking, and it's just, it doesn't, right now it's the awkward time for wuxia genre as a whole. Whether it's like because you don't have that many people who can do it properly on screen, or it's because the story ideas, a lot of those young adaptation, like people who are telling a story, they either don't really understand what they're doing, or they don't agree with a lot of those values that those stories are sort of talking about. So it creates a very weird and jarring experience of those dramas. It's like it doesn't, it's like its head doesn't agree with its tail. Like a lot of those wuxias reads like that. Extremely incoherent. Game adaptation of Jin Yong book would be epic. Then you would probably have to adapt Tianlong Babu. Right? Because Tianlong Babu, the first thing I would think would be the best one to, because it has so many characters. And you literally have 3 male leads, and they have three different lines, and they collide and they come together at certain points, but you have 3 people. And they each have a very full and personal development line. So as a game, right, it's like if you can pick a character to go in as your lead character, 天龙八部 would be the best one to do. Because like 射雕, 神雕, they're all pretty much one couple or one lead, one single point of the narrative, even including 倚天神, so the whole 神雕系列, the 神雕, 射雕, 倚天屠龙记, they're all like one leading character, one pack of character. And they go on their way, it's their adventure. Whereas 天龙八部 is at least you have 3 people kind of simultaneously having their story going on. Although you can still say maybe Xiaofeng is the lead, but then Duan Yu and Xu Zhu have like also significant, pretty much on par screen time. And it has so many different power and different good and bad people and weirdos too. Like in 天龙八部, you have just like a plethora of crazy characters. It'll be very noisy and exciting. So 天龙八部 probably would be a really, really good game adaptation base for Jin Yong's story. In terms of like noisy and having a lot of people going and different ways of playing it. But if you want a single, very clear through line narrative, then you probably pick one of those one lead character story. Horror farming, drought, locust, yeah. Heavy like flood, war, infestation of anything. You know, like the Irish potato thing. That would be bad. Horror game focused on farming. That's interesting. What would that be? Yesterday I was listening to the interview of the music director of Black Myth Wukong. This guy's name is Li Jiaqi. Sounding exactly like the streamer who sells stuff like makeup in China, who's the most famous guy. But it's different characters. And this guy is like in his 40s. And the interview went into detail about how they did the music. I wish they could translate that and have like a subtitle version out somewhere for international audiences, because it's so interesting. They said so, like they actually told you everything, how it happened, like how those songs got written, what's the process of doing it, why did they put out certain music on certain PV the way it is, and it's always what actually happened in reality is a lot more. You know, like when you find out these things, it's so funny. Like so many things all just happens by accident or unintentional planning, or it only is because at that stage, under those circumstances, this is the only way things can be done. And people tend to over analyze and interpret things as like all planned, it's all designed for this like crazy purpose, it's all done because of this. And then you actually interview the person who did it, and they were like, no, it's actually because this happened, so we have to do it that way. And you're like, what? How did that happen? Can you send the link? Okay, let me find it. It's in Chinese. It's 2.5 hours. It's very long. It's a podcast. But it's cool. It's very, very cool. Let me find it and then see if I could put it in the chat. I have no idea. Okay. Oh yeah, it's on Bilibili. And so for a couple of things they've talked about, that I found really interesting. For the animation of the game, at the end of each chapter, it's all music first, animation later. So they decide what music and what song is used. And then they go and ask the animator to basically create animation timed perfectly to the music. It's like how I do edits. It's like I find the BGM first, and then I edit everything to the beat of the music. So for all the animations, it happened in a way where they have the music down first, and then they have the animation to get done completely matching their music. And in terms of the songs written, it's all the lyrics are written by the guy who is running this game science thing. He's the founder, Feng Ji. He comes from like a science background. Like he is in the tech, 华中科技大, right? Like the technology like university, and he studies STEM subjects. Decided to halfway, he's like, no, I'm gonna go and do gaming. And then when he started to do games, the only thing that he really finds passionate doing, and he has to do it, and every time like he does a game, like the thing he likes most is writing lyrics for his songs. This guy is so weird. So he's a lyricist, and he is crazy about writing lyrics. And every time like when he talks to the music director, right, at every meeting, he always pushes the question about, are we gonna write a song for this chapter? Are we gonna have actually a singing voice in this? And the music director would be like, for this part, probably it's just like music is good enough. If you have a person singing in the background, it's gonna fight with the dialogue and not gonna sound well. And it's like, and this guy's like, but can we try? Can we try it first? And then see if it doesn't work, we can just take it out. But at least we try. So their boss of the game, this guy, is a crazy lyricist wannabe. And it's so funny that for him to write the lyrics of the songs, it usually just takes one day. It's like he would talk to the director and say, okay, can we add a song here? And the director's okay, we can try. And then he'll be cool. The next day he'll be coming back to the director with lyrics already written, like for 2 songs. And it's like, can you try both? And they're joking in game science about the whole point of making Black Myth Wukong and all the games this guy makes is so that he can write lyrics for his songs in the game. He definitely had a blast for this game because he wrote everything, even some of the portraits in the game is written by him. And then obviously they have a team who would be working out all the copies, but he would be the person who's like just like tweaking things and having fun with writing. This guy is just so funny. And the story about the 4th chapter, because 4th chapter is the romance chapter, the love story chapter, about the 2 songs. One is when they were doing promotion, during one of those PVs that you see all the spiders having that plot played out, which is in the game too. And while that was going on, you hear the song in the background, and then they released the song called 界王, right? And that song didn't show up at the final, like in the game itself, as a fully sung and then in the album collection. In the game, it's the ending animation, 勿听, is Don't Listen, that song. So both songs are written for this chapter. But I think that they told you, like in this like podcast, what happened with those 2 songs, and it's just such a funny thing. They asked the writer to write music for so basically to write they want a very romantic man and woman singing a duet song for this. And Feng Ji is like, okay, I'm gonna go and write lyrics for those. And he took 1 day and he wrote 2. So one is 界王, one is 勿听, and they are very different styled. 勿听 is more contemporary and talking to each other in like very quick, sort of like 1 short sentence, 2 words. And then 界王 is a very traditional, like poetry reference heavy one, and it's a totally different style. He wrote 2, and then he get back to the music director and he was like, I like both. I like both. I think they both work. I can't decide which one works better. So they made one, and then they made another. So they had two, ended up with two in totally different style. They used one for the promotion, and then they used one for the animation at the end. And it's like the only they initially only wanted one. It only wanted one. It's only because Feng Ji wrote two lyrics and he didn't want to give up any of them. But they find they're like, if we have one released in PB already, we need to have a new one in the game so that people find it's like refreshing, whatever. So they ended up with two songs, and the only reason they have two songs is because the game creator just can't stop writing more lyrics, and he can't pick which one he likes more. So he's like, I want them both. So they had to write two songs for it. A physical copy of the portraits and then printed in the style of Chinese ancient books that flips this way around, like the left, not like spine it this way, right? And then you read it this way. That would be cool. And they better print it in a traditional Chinese page stapling style, which is actually two pages stapled into one. Anyway, that would be cool. Yeah, so for the songs, and then I remember a couple of really interesting things about the music design. Let me think. One is dubbing. So they had two rounds of dubbing for all the characters who speak in the game. First, they got a woman and a man dubber, and they come in and they read all the lines that will be spoken by all characters, woman and man, like both genders, including all the little yao guais who would just be speaking one line or making a noise. So all the spoken words got directed and recorded in studio by the dubbing director, who would be directing their performance. So these two people will be performing everybody in the right pacing, and they decide already at that stage how every scene will be played, the emotion, the pacing, the wording, how you act. So all that got acted for the first round and all recorded. And then they record the face captured actor who would be playing those characters in the game. And then they record the voice dubber's mouth. So basically they blend the facial of the face captured actors with the acting performance of the dubber's mouth so that it matches. And then they make the animation. So eventually you get animation where the face is from the face captured actor performing, but their mouth gets placed in by these two dubbers, the woman and the man, who dubbed everybody. And then once they have that animation down, they put the animation up on the screen and get a real dubber for each row to dub it, and then they fit the mouth of the character. So everything got dubbed twice. The first round is dubbed by one lady and one guy who would do everyone and who would act in the right emotion and pacing with the direction of the dubbing director. Recorded with their mouth, put that into animation, and then get the dubber they casted for each row to then redo that to match the animation. That's how they did it. It's a lot of work. So they basically have to dub everything twice. And then the even funnier thing is the guy who got picked to do the first round of dubbing for every male role in the game ends up eventually becoming Zhu Bajie. So it's the Zhu Bajie dubber in Chinese version who dubbed everybody at the beginning to do the mouthing and to do the animation. And then while they were dubbing everybody, he tried acting Zhu Bajie quite well, so that at the end they decided, okay, so might as well just use you as Zhu Bajie. And Zhu Bajie happens to be the character who has most lines. So you cannot say that this actor doesn't have some little tricks in his pocket. He probably did it intentionally. Because Zhu Bajie has the most spoken lines in the whole game of any character. And it is that guy who dubbed everybody who dubbed him. Eventually. And then for Sun Wukong's dubber, the actor who played Sun Wukong at the beginning, and also at the real ending, when Yang Jian's eyes opens up and you hear all the lines that's being spoken by Sun Wukong comes out like the black wind. That guy is the only guy in the whole game who dubbed 2 characters. So he dubbed Sun Wukong, and he dubbed another one. And can you guess who? If anybody is still listening. If you play the game, can you tell? If you played it in Chinese version, that is. If you played it in the Chinese dubbed version, apart from the beginning opening sequence of Sun Wukong speaking, that actor dubbed another role. And he's the only actor who dubbed 2 roles for this game. Can anyone guess who else he dubbed? It's in this podcast. They actually told you why it happened and how it happened. It's another really interesting thing. Probably nobody played the game. How many people are playing? Tiger. No. Yes! NYZ, you're right. Chapter 1 keeper. The Jinsen, like, old guy. The one with his back scratcher. The old man in blue. And all the, like, whisks and, like, beard, like, Jinsen roots. Tudigong of Chapter 1. It's the same guy. And the only reason was, when they did the first PV that got released, it's already this guy dubbing. So they picked this guy. At that stage, there's no Sun Wukong yet. They have no lines written for him. They just picked this actor to do the voice of the Tudigong. And because the PV got really successful and everybody recognized the Tudigong's voice, they didn't want to change him in the real game to a different voice, in case that just makes people feel uncomfortable. But then this guy happens to also be a very famous dubber who is specialized in dubbing Sun Wukong in everything. Because he just loved it, and he did a lot of monkey roles, and previously he did a lot of animation, other things that has monkey. So he is specialized in doing Sun Wukong's tone and the voice sort of quality. And they really couldn't find an even better guy for doing that than him. So he did Sun Wukong as well. So he ends up being the only person who played 2 characters at the same time, which is Tudigong and Sun Wukong. I don't have a problem with Erlang Shen sounding too young, because he's a young man looking guy. If you read like what he looks like in books, he's the handsome guy. He's like the best looking. He's an idol drama lead, basically. If you want to use Chinese drama's current standard of like who he would be the young general who is super handsome and tall. So if he sounds young, that's totally fine. And he's a god. He doesn't age. He could be 2,000 years old and still sounding like 20 years old. So what? And so that's what happens with the dubbing. And then I think they talked extensively about the second chapter, 陕北说书. And it's also really fun how it all happened. At the beginning, like it opens up with the headless, right, singer with Sanxian. 3 eyes that grows though. Why? If humans happen to also grow an eye here that physically is there, why is that more gross than having 2 eyes here? Just because it's vertical? I'm just saying, if you have a hole here in the bone and that actually has a socket and it sits an eye and it's just normal for all humans, would that be weird? It wouldn't. I think the third eye here is actually really cool. And the singing guy, he ended up on this project because prior to Black Myth Wukong, about 7 years before that, the music director worked with him on a different project that's for a independent animation that's very small, like a short animation. And in that animation, they feature him singing. And so this music director always knows this intangible heritage person who sings 陕北说书. And then for the game, like he thought it might be something that's worth trying. So they tested out and it kind of worked out really well. And they had a lot of tests with initially having the lyrics written out and because 陕北说书 has its own ways of singing and its tone and its pattern. So they have the lyrics down and give it to this guy, and this guy looked at it and saying, those words wouldn't work with 陕北说书's pacing and how usually it gets sung, because it's very colloquial. It's like daily, very normal language. And what you gave me is too literary and too poetic. It's not gonna work with 陕北说书. So they have to change everything so that it fits the rhythm and the pattern and basically make the language sounds a lot more colloquial than poetic. And they did a lot of those testing and making sure eventually that the version they get can be sung. And then in terms of actually recording it for the part that he sings in the game, it's even more outrageous. Because this guy is busy too, he's traveling all the time. And one day they were, he was at an event singing. Afterwards, he's in the same city, so he traveled to the recording studio, and he's already bought his ticket to fly out that evening back to his home. And he only has 2 hours to record everything before he has to go to the airport. They spend 2 hours in the moment in the live recording studio deciding for that sequence, for those lyrics, how it's gonna sound, because the music is not pre-written. It's not like a existing song. It's because 陕北说书 has its own tune, right? And it's pretty much improvisation by the singer in the moment what he does. So they looked at the lyrics and they tried out a bit like how we're gonna sing this part that makes sense. And it's just pretty much improvisation for 2 hours to record everything that you end up here in chapter 2 of the Headless Monk singing. All the singing, the lyrics are written down, but the music is not. The music is completely made up on spot by the singer in the 2 hours in the studio. That's how they did it. I'm like, oh, really? That's how it gets done? People, that's crazy. It's basically a whole lifetime's experience of improvisation in 2 hours. And gets the opening and a couple of sequences that you see in chapter 2 when you beat the boss, right? He will come out and start to sing. And it's all done like 2 hours. It's all improvisation. It's like no written down music at all. And it also got adjusted slightly, not fully like the traditional way of singing it. And traditional way of singing it will have an even more free styled rhythm. Like the rhythm will running, like he will slow down, he will speed up, he'll be talking, he will be singing. It will be even more. But then because for the gaming, for the writing of the, like they have to put music in the background, they have to match the like animation. And for all those purposes, it still got sort of slightly cleaned up with more of a standard sort of rhythm instead of like completely go freehand. Yeah, and then and there's an interview online recently about the singer. He's like he never believed it's gonna be popular globally, because once it got recorded, it's done, and it's like for years, right? Before he actually saw it in the final version. And I think it was the GameCom 2023 in Germany when they first released this clip where the headless monk is singing. And even a tiny clip got really popular online. And he was like, the game science people told him, you know, like, we released this small video of you singing and it got really good feedback globally. And he was like, no way. He doesn't believe it. Like my thing, which is a local folk thing that not even that many Chinese people care about, and like how would that work in Germany? You know, so he wouldn't believe it. And even till the game actually got released on August the 20th, and then the next day, a couple of people who are fast enough, right? They already played through to chapter 2, so they heard it, and then it started got really popular on internet, and then game science people told him it's like it's really catching on, and he was like, really? He still didn't believe it. So he filmed a video of himself singing it on his TikTok, and then the next day, so that video, he woke up and it's like boom, that video's view went through the roof. He's like, okay, maybe that is true. People actually liked it. He wouldn't believe it, you know, like for most of the time in his interview, he's like, no way people would like it. He sang it in their local dialect, not Mandarin. It's very strongly accented, but not so hard to understand dialect. It's not like Cantonese where everything is different, almost completely different from Mandarin. It is still based on Mandarin, but it has a lot of very strong change. Like emphasizing on the on sound, like the nose NG sound. A lot of characters that actually don't have NG in Mandarin gets NG'd in Shanbei dialect. And then a lot of sh, like those curl tongue consonant gets flattened. So they have this change in their local dialect. He would be singing. And this guy cannot actually speak very good Mandarin. In his interview, he still speaks with his accent and he struggles with Mandarin. He sounds really funny when he tries Mandarin. So he would be sounding pretty much completely with his accent. 迎风的青春, I watched a little bit and couldn't continue. I know, like, it's not bad. I watched about 3 episodes and I quit. Not because I have a problem with it, but because I don't know why I'm watching it. Nothing really hooks me to it. It's not wrong or bad. It's like, why should I care about these teenagers' life? It's not like I haven't lived through my teenager life. And there's nothing new they're providing me to watch it as a drama. It doesn't have a hook. For 迎风的青春 Wind Direction. Registered edition, you're saying? I've watched about, because I like Sun Qian, Zhai Zilu, Liu Ling, Tian Yu. I have no problem with these actors. I really like them. So I watched it because I like them. So I watched it 3 episodes and I still couldn't really understand why I'm watching it. That's the problem with this story, is there's no story. There's no story and no plot, right? Some stories have good story but maybe weak plot. Some have very strong plot but not good story. And this drama, I don't know what's the story and I don't know what's the plot. It doesn't have plot and it doesn't have story either. It's just like people living together happily and then having a little bit of so like the little youthful sort of like problems with each other. But I can't sense of a clear backbone or hook of this whole story. And I need motivation, right? For any story, is like, why am I watching it? Why do I care about the main lead's story and life in this, right? You need the very tropey thing of like, are they in trouble they need to get out of? Do they have a clear goal they need to achieve and they have so many obstacles they have to go through it one by one? Like, you have to set up the story, whether it's revenge, detective, hero's journey, like you can pick your pick of what type of story it is, but you have to give me a reason for me to basically go in and say, okay, so this is what you want to do. And we're going on the journey with you to achieve your goal. And this type of story just gives you the sense there's no goal and there's nowhere to go and it just happens. And not that I have a huge problem with it, but I find the beginning, I can't get hooked onto it at all. And I don't know, like if I have like I'm bored and I have time, like I can keep it running for another 5 episodes, maybe something will happen that will start to get interesting. But honestly, you can't blame me if I can't get hooked in the first 2 or 3 episodes. Because I think it's actually a duty for any type of stories, whatever type of story it is, right? For you to tell it, you have to start it well. You have to end it well. Like these 2 parts adds up to probably 50%. And then the middle is the rest of the 50%. That's how it works with human beings. Think about if you are a storyteller of ancient time, you don't have a screen, you don't have anything, you are 西游记 teller of Yuan dynasty. And if you can hook people to your story in the first 10 minutes, they're all gonna be, they're gonna laugh. Like they're gonna walk away and do other things. To survive and get money and literally like make your story, well, at least I want to sit down and listen to what you're gonna tell me next. I think it's important for any type of story to start with a good, attractive hook of any type. At least keep me there. And the drama didn't. Like I couldn't get kept on my seat for after 3 episodes. I'm like, I don't know why I'm watching it. Maybe it got better later. I'm not saying it didn't, but then I would have to invest my like by the time it get better, like the however many episodes time in, and if I have unlimited attention span and time, I can do it. But if I have other things to do, I would go to do other things. Yeah. And I'm much looking forward to a couple of other dramas these leads have, because those dramas definitely have a clear goal. Like the moment you see the poster, you know where they're going, what type of story it is. Yeah, unfortunately, I am at that age and that I can't get entertained by gentle massage and breeze on my face. I need to get poked. I have my rhino skin now at this age, and I just you need to hit me to get my attention. You can't just and expect me to notice you, right? I'm that numb. I'm not 15 anymore. I won't get moved by a flower petal falling from a flower, basically. You need to have a rock like dropping on my head to make me notice. I like Zhai Zilu. Oh, I have no problem. Like, I really like this guy. He's in 山花灿烂时, 烂漫时 as well. He's in She and Her Girls. He's the male teacher. He's the male teacher. If I'm 50, I still look like this, I'd be so happy. Honestly. If I can look like this, right, and being 50, wow. I'll go and try to get a Guinness World Record. Zhai Zilu is I like him. Zhai Zilu is very unique. He is young looking, but then he is old sounding. He's like, his voice sounds like really a lot older and mature and old-fashioned. He's the old-fashioned guy in voice acting. He sounds like last generation or last couple of generation old actor. He doesn't sound like a 2020s young man. He has a very old voice, not like being like physically old man, but being old-fashioned. Very old-fashioned. And I like it because no one else has that voice. Zhai Zilu, because he used to be I think he's special majored in broadcasting. That's what he does professionally before he became an actor. So he tends to have that very news anchor, well-trained, slightly old-fashioned Mandarin voice that young actors don't have. Nobody has his voice. Like, he has a really big national event on big stage, hosting voice. Zhai Zilu. With his kid face, it's just really weird combination, but it makes it very memorable. And I'm sensitive to voice. I like his voice. because he's unique. Not like his best sounding, but he's so unique. And I like his acting. He also acts in a very, like, not self-aware, I'm the cool guy of 2020s kind of acting. Because a lot of guys, they're so aware of whether they look perfect on screen that they act with such awareness of camera. It is very, in a way, it's very tense. Like, they don't relax and you don't relax with them. You don't quite fully believe they are in their story. It's like they are in front of a camera. They know they're playing the role. He would really let it go. Like, he doesn't care about whether I look perfect on screen. He would just go like that. A lot of young actors just don't have that. They're not ballsy enough to do it like that. So I like him for that. Wouldn't say he's the best actor out there, but he has very unique qualities. I just hope he doesn't house collapse again and destroys himself, which happens so many times, so often in entertainment business these days. I just hope like he can survive longer until he got older and then do more things. Don't disappear from the industry. That's all I hope it could be. I like him, but even when I like him and Sun Qian and Liu Ling and Tian Yu, I still find Wind Direction, it just didn't catch me in the first couple of episodes, and I slipped away, basically. It's just like, I'm too bored, I just slipped away. But I like him. Like, I'm looking forward to a couple of other dramas he's already done, waiting to air, waiting for it to happen. I hope it happens soon. Go East too? I watched a little bit, it didn't continue. One thing is its production quality is so low. Compared to every drama that's being filmed now in Hengdian as a period drama, it's very rough. Let's be honest. Go East, visually, prop, costume, it's like they didn't want to spend time to refine it. It looks very average. Below standard, I'd say, for a period drama. So that one thing first already is like putting it off for me. I wish they could do better, just even production standard thing. Second, that drama is trying to do so many things and it couldn't do anything better, good. Like any particular things better than others. It's like, I'm trying to be a romantic story. I'm trying to have this complicated, having a lot of layers, male lead guy set up who initially looks like this, but he's actually like that. I'm trying to have case breaking happening, comedy happening, but then the case breaking is so meh, like it's so meh written. It's even funny and it's just not even up to standard of any type of case breaking detective story. And it's just trying to do everything. It's like, I want to have romance. I want to have like the main lead character. I want to have, I don't know, a pack of like characters together, the classic ensemble team thing. It's just trying to do everything, and it ends up like not doing anything good. That's like how I think that drama works. Go East. So I'm watching it, but then like after a couple of episodes, I'm like, what are you trying to do? Like, you're trying so hard to do everything and nothing is working. And yeah, so it didn't really work on me. And also, like, I think, okay, it's my opinion, but I feel for Tan Jianci, this actor, he is very limited with the range he can do that will make him shine. And it's not his fault, but certain actors are just the way they are. There are people, you can make them do anything and it kind of seems to always work out because they personally are like, they don't have a very clear, like they are even, like in every direction. So you can pull them towards any direction and kind of all works pretty well. But then there are people who are very specific. It's like this type of character just work really well with them, but then other types just wouldn't work well. And for Tan Jianci, okay, super happy, relaxed, romantic, like a bubbly, and nothing is like, my life is all sunshine. and there's no dark, and there's no like, that does not suit him as an actor. He cannot dig, like he cannot basically pull a punch with that kind of role. He needs to play roles that has a very clear, sharp dark side. He works with that type of energy, like Xiangliu's energy or like Shen Yi's energy. Because if you think about Under the Skin, although on the surface, right, he's the soft-spoken, gentle policeman who's good at, like painting and have that skill. But that's not him. The actual character behind that is that psychologically unstable and having problem character. And that's what makes Shen Yi tick. And if you take that out, it would completely fail. And if you look at the recent trailer they just put out for the second season of Under the Skin, they're definitely going down that route, which is, I know that it will work for him and also his character, which is it's gonna go deep into talking about his past and why he's the way he is and the dark side that he has, and then what it's gonna do to his current career as the 画像师, right, for the police station. So if you look at the recent trailer they've put out, at least I think for the second season they know they're going down the right direction of exploring Shen Yi's character. And Chan Jianci, honestly, he works with the type of character who has that edge and the dark side, and that needs to be the undertone constantly. And that it's just the way he is, like he works with that energy. And you believe, like if he plays a role like that, you instantly believe it's real. Like the other role he played in a romantic drama with Zhou Ye, where he's the singer and the dubber, it does not work for me. I don't know for other people, but it totally doesn't work for me because that character is just so mellow. And it's just, it does not work with Tan Jianci, okay? Because he's already limited by the size of himself. Like he physically is just not huge, not tall, not... If you still give him that very gentle and warm and soft energy, then he just like, he becomes 姐妹. He becomes the female lead's 姐妹, sister, right? He becomes the good friend. Like he no longer is the male energy in the configuration. Like the thing that will make him sharp and having that edge, right, and pulling the male energy in that relationship would be to give him that dark side. He needs to have that very clear, sharp dark side. And that's the only thing he can... I mean, he's limited basically by the physical sort of like appearance and things, and you can't do anything about it. It's like unless you reincarnate, right? You're in this body for the rest of your life. So just like, I just don't feel the type of like comedy heavy, really bubbly kind of role really fits him. He's not like he's not doing a good job or doing like trying hard, and he's not a bad actor, but certain actors just have like things that are so not suitable for them. Like you can put twice as much effort in it and it still only perform as half of what you want. And if that's the case, you don't need to fight against it. It's like, if you're a fish, why do you want to climb a tree? Like why do you force yourself to climb a tree? What's wrong with swimming in the sea? Swimming in the sea. Talk about that. I wonder when Chen Zhueyuan and his drama will come out, or will it ever come out. I mean, honestly, for Shapolang, it really fits him. Even though we may never get to see the BL drama, but honestly, for Tan Jianci, him playing Gu Yun is perfect. even if I haven't even seen the drama, like we may never get to see the drama. But like that's a perfect role for him. You don't even need to watch it to know it's gonna be good. Like that's how easy you can tell for actors. Like there are things they suit and things they don't. And Go East is just not 谭健次 where he fits. And he's not the type of actor who can do anything, who is so good at acting that you can completely ignore the limit of his physical appearance and he can just be anyone and make it believable. Not one of those people. So, Go East. Yeah, I've watched a little bit and I gave up. The limbo drama worth watching, what is that? I have no idea. Did you watch Unknown? Unknown? Oh, the movie? Do you mean? I watched the movie. I don't think he did a really sort of good acting in that film. I think he did a lot better in War of Faith. In the film, he's mostly rely on the fact that the setup of the character is like that. Like he's this stern-faced young man who most of the time doesn't need to have any expression on his face. And to be honest, I think for Wang Yibo, film screen does not suit him. Television would be better. Like drama screen suits him better. Big screen where you actually go in the cinema to see a face that's been projected in that size does not suit him. It's my honest opinion because big screen. Although people these days you can still consume it right on mostly like people watch it online, so on a smaller screen. So maybe that isn't such a problem, but it's first media, right? When it's first made out and what the money it makes on, but mostly it's still box office and in a physical huge theater with a big projected image. And when you have a person's face that's been projected in that size, certain faces will just work better for a big screen. And it's a fact. It's like 1 + 1 = 2. You cannot argue with it. He's not the type of actor or type of people who would look good on a big screen. On a smaller screen, it's not such a problem. And television tend to like people in a very different way than film. So for film, ideally you have a very clear bone structure, having clear faces under light face. Basically, the turn of the angles on your face, the bones, the jawlines, the cheekbones, all the sides and nose, like everything that has this change of angle. The sharper, more clean, and then the muscles more flat. In terms of like when you talk, these bulges don't show up. Like the more face you have in those kind of very clear defined lines, and then good story dimensionality, and then flattened, like really tight stretched skin without too much muscle bulging thing on your face, the better you look on big screen, like big screen. And it's very obvious because once you get like magnified to that size, every little thing shows, right? And his face, well, it will be okay on a small screen, on a phone screen, on an iPad, but it will not look good on a big projected image. It tends to draw people's attention to the face that kind of just feels out of place, instead of like, if they're spending 20% of their attention on it, just looks weird, then they can't get into the story. He just doesn't work very well with big screen. And also still, I think in terms of like acting, good script, good director, good suitable characters, like you need all those things in place so that his performance will work. If you miss one essential component, he tends to not really make the performance work. And it comes with whether you first is like talented at acting to start with. Second, it comes with whether you can understand your role and your character. For him, there's a lot of limit that's been put in there. And I think everybody knows, right? He lacks certain things that will hinder him into like keep developing and having very, very good understanding of roles. if he doesn't have a good helper on hand, like the director who can explain things really well to him, or if the role is really relatable for him to understand. If it's too far away, too different from him, and he cannot really understand, and the director is no good at helping him figure that out, then he can't play it. So he's very limited. And so I still wouldn't say he's a fully qualified actor. I only say that word of faith in that he did a good enough job. I think it's all the things necessary in good place for it to happen. But it's not gonna be like from then on every drama he's in is gonna be good. I still wouldn't say that. I wouldn't safely say that's gonna happen. I haven't watched any Korean dramas after Queen of Tears. Didn't have time. The time travel, I heard about it. But I also heard about how people got pissed off by certain parts of it. So I was like, maybe I should just dodge that in case I invest and then feel like my money is wasted. Because I've got good friends who will watch dramas and they will tell me their opinions about the dramas. And because I know them so well, so if they have a certain opinion about certain dramas, then I know like where they're coming from and what it might be. So it helps me to zone out things and filter through. I've heard about that the girl who goes back in time to save like the idol guy, is it? Anyway, a good friend of mine has watched it through and she is like, first she's like, so good, she tells me. And then it's like halfway or like till the end, it's like, oh, I'm so pissed. Like she's on the chat, it's like, I can't believe blah 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 blah. And she said a lot. I'm like, okay. Maybe I'll just like not go into it. K-dramas tend to give me this overall sense of it goes on like it down quickly. I usually have this feeling with most K-dramas is when it's airing or if I'm in it, right, I'm just having so much fun and it's such a ride. And once it ends very soon, next week, like it just, it's like that energy is, it's like that, up, down, and it's like, explosion disappears. I usually don't have long sustained sort of like after effect ripple that I can feel from a K-drama, and it always happens like that. I don't know why, but it tends to happen to me like that. When it's hot on air, when I'm in it, I'm like, oh, this is so cool. And then a month later, I'm like, oh wow. Well, oh wow, it's been a month. Holy shit, what happened? It's like yes, I remember, like I was so in the drama a month ago, but then now I'm like a month later and I almost erased my, like it's not in the forefront of my mind anymore. It completely just like went back, and obviously you remember it if you remind me, but if you don't remind me, it's not going to be a thing that I would be randomly thinking of. Somehow it happens to me always like that. I don't know why, but so for all the K-dramas and then like even like American dramas, it tend to work like me, or work on that, like that on me, which is like when it's on, it's like, wow, this is so cool, and when it's gone, it's like, what happened? It's like a week later, I forgot about its existence. I tend to do that really, like with a lot of like, for example, this year I've watched Queen of Tears K-drama, I've watched Sugar from Apple, I watched another one from Apple, which is the Dark Matter. Is it Dark Matter? Like the title even like starts to like, I start to forget about it. The guy who invented a box that can travel to different universe of himself, like that one. That's based on the book that I've read. And I know after I read it a couple of years ago, I said this is gonna get made into a drama, and it did happen. That one. Anybody watched it? Like that's another series I've watched this year. I mean, it's exciting and a pretty interesting story, but it's like something that happens and then I watched it and then next week I forgot. Like I've watched it, or it just completely go away and I don't think back. I recently got recommended a series. It's like a British series. about the reindeer, baby reindeer, and it's good, but I only watched the first episode and I was like, I'm not watching the rest because I get scared. It's about the stalker, like the woman who stalks the guy. It's really, like, it's well made because every shot is intended to make you feel that psychological pressure, like when you come across and you realize you're being stalked by this woman. And it's really well made, but it scares me, like the energy of the drama. Baby reindeer, I know, like I have the whole series, but I'm like, I watched one episode, I'm like, I don't want to continue because I just sense this pain coming, and I'm like, dodge. But it's a pretty well made series for sure, and it's totally unique in its energy. It's so specific, and it's so author specific, right? That type of drama, you almost cannot imagine it ever gets made in China, in a very uninventive, boring, no author, and all just like workers and pipeline drama situation in Chinese dramaland. You are like this type of like super strong character and personality drama is just not gonna get even like show up in Chinese dramaland. Even the so-called having very strong style Chinese dramas are still often very pipeline, and they're not author drama. Like some of the dramas, it's instantly, it's like done by an individual who has such a specific way of telling stories, and you just don't see that in Chinese dramaland almost completely. My Love from the Star, Queen of Tears. Maybe still My Love from the Star, because Queen of Tears, it just ends up with too many tropes in the end that I even me, I'm like, yeah, but come on, he's not Superman, he can't do that. That's just not making sense anymore. But My Love from the Start, at least it has the layer of buff, which is like, I'm not human, so I can do anything. At least you have that. He's an alien, so you can get away with things where Queen of Tears is like, okay, but that does not make sense. Like, physically, a human cannot do that, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. I have to rewatch that. I haven't seen that movie for years. I've forgotten most of it. Yeah, I haven't seen it for so long. I don't even remember what really happens in that one. I remember when I first saw it, the weird thing happened is everybody has a different accent. And it's very jarring for me to like my brain try to configure and believe in the story, because you have Zhang Ziyi speaking the Mandarin of the sort of standard mainland, and then you have Zhang Zhen, who is supposedly, isn't he like from a tribe like in the west in the desert or something, but then he speaks with a Taiwan accent, which is just like, how does that make sense? And then you have Yang Zichong and Zhou Renfa, who are like Cantonese, like, and then did they get dubbed? I can't even remember. I just remember when I first saw the movie, is everybody's accent is so out of place that it just keeps knocking me out of the story. So I can't get in, and that's a problem. Like, if you don't speak Chinese, you will not have that problem at all. But then for somebody who is Chinese, you cannot get over it. It's like, it's in the hard program of your brain. You can't take it out. So it constantly annoys you when you're watching it. You're constantly watching it. It's like, yeah, your performance is good, but then like, I don't believe it, because when you open your mouth, you don't sound right, and that's like a problem for me. So I remember, I haven't seen the movie for years, but I remember that's the first impression I got from Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, was like, that's so weird. You people, you're all talking your own way. And like, how am I supposed to believe anything you're saying? It's all out of place. That's a big problem. That's a big problem for this type of movie when it gets made, and then the actors all come from different places, and they don't work out a perfectly making sense accent for everyone to stick to, and it starts to get like, but that does not make sense. And the amount of like trip up you can have in your head when that happens is a problem. So like all those 合拍片back in the days where mainland and Hong Kong and other like Taiwan and they come together and make a movie often have this problem. And it just sounds really odd. Really, really odd. Like when you think about, for example, you're set the story in Qing Dynasty, and then you have like somebody who speaks with contemporary Taiwan accent. Sorry, but no way it's gonna make sense. Like your brain just cannot agree with it. And if that film is actually completely dubbed in English, it would actually make more sense to me. I'll watch it as a foreign movie. And I will have that taken out of my brain, which is like, it does not make sense. And it will actually work better. But because I can tell all the accents are not working together, it just, basically the dramatic storytelling space is destroyed. So your like whether you're acting well, whether like any like fighting looks good or costume looks good, is no longer important because already I cannot believe it. And it's the type of like hard programming thing that you can't get over. Like you can't convince yourself, no matter how hard you try. It's really a big thing. I don't know. It's like if you have a story setting American Civil War, South of America, and then everybody's speaking British accent, like all the American people, from the slave owner to like everyone, and you come across it and they start to speak like does that like also like no, they're not people who just traveled from Britain, like they're literally living there for generations, and then they start to speak like with that accent, and it's like what, like it will completely kick you out of the story and you can't watch it anymore no matter how hard you try. It's just So I remember my first impression of Crouching and Hidden was that. And I don't think now if I go back watch it, I can change that. I will literally need to get reborn into a different culture and never heard Chinese and don't know the language to actually be able to watch it as other people from the other parts of the world watch it would experience. I wouldn't know what it feels like. I can't make myself forget what Chinese sound like in this lifetime. So that's closed for me for this lifetime. I would literally need to get brain damage and to be able to watch it and not get affected by it. That's not good. I was asleep. I watched about episode 16 or something, 流水迢迢, and I start to not want to watch it anymore because, like I said, it's not super stupid. People are still reasonable and clever, and although some of the things you can still argue it's for the convenience sake of storytelling, and if you really want to scrutinize, the logic still doesn't work out. It's already doing better than a lot of super silly period dramas. At least it has the attempt to make everybody slightly selfish and then think from their own sort of like, instead of everybody automatically assumes that I need to fall in love with the other person. So that part is watchable, but 流水迢迢 runs into the problem where Lost Forever has. To me, at least as a woman watching it, I'm like, why the girl needs to stay there? Like she has a million times like opportunities to run away and she can. And so just run away, because neither of these guys are worth it, right? The super agent guy and the Marquis guy is like, both of them are like, yeah, but then you have better choices, like in the world where you can actually physically and mentally stay healthy. Like these two guys, right? It's like, that's such a bad idea to associate with these two people. They have like so much baggage on them, and they all live in literally such tight and difficult political atmosphere situation. Like one is literally wanting revenge on your kingdom's emperor and who's literally wanting to topple your country. The other is like probably maybe illegitimate but not really son of the current emperor, and he's already in a difficult position with this very ambitious sort of ruler of their kingdom. Like these two guys, any moment their head is gonna get chopped off by their enemies or the emperor or whoever, who knows. And then they're gonna use you till no end. They're gonna take advantage of you to do whatever they want. And just think about, ever since you met these two guys, how many difficult situations have you made yourself in, like you get yourself into? Life-threatening, constantly suffering, constantly life-threatening. Why? Just because they're two rich, powerful guys with like reasonable good looks? You don't have to have a creature with in your life to survive, right? Go away. So for Liu Shui Tiao, Love in Nirvana, like that story is like, while I think I don't hate any of those characters, I see where they come from and they do reasonably good writing for them. Still, I can't keep watching it. I'm like Li Landi's Rao, like Jiang Ci. I'm like, wrong the way. Why are you here? Go away. I mean, is Ren Jialun's whatever, like his look or like his like, is he worth you like staying with him, like just stay in that kind of level of danger all the time? Is Xu Zhengxi worth you like just staying and like keep like having a relationship with this guy and then constantly just like getting into trouble? Because no, like these guys are by no means, I don't know, it's like, what if they're in your life, you live like 10 times longer? Do you get immortality by being associated with them? Do they kiss you and then suddenly you turn into gold and you like money drop out of the sky? Like, what good do you get from being with them? I can't see any. And I can't see any sane people who actually want to have a peaceful, healthy, good life would voluntarily walk into that. And also, when they have opportunities to get away, they still stay in that. Like, does that make sense? And it does not. So I can't keep watching it. It just does not make sense. It's already 12:37. Holy shit. I'm gonna be here for another 5 minutes or so. I will cut it probably, by 45 or something. So that's Liu Shui Tiao to me is, it makes me 倒吸一口凉气. I do this. And I do it too many times, so I stopped watching. Glory, Descendant of the Sun. Descendant of the Sun is not my cup of tea. Glory is switch off your logical brain, can watch it for a bit. But then if you switch it on, it still is like, nah. It's watchable. It's popular for a good reason. It captures people's heart by very good timing, rhythm, pacing of every scene. Like when you switch a scene to another, it really hooks you on, so you keep going. It's very masterful storytelling, and it's been worked out really well in Korean dramaland. They are master of writing that type of story, and you know that. But on the other hand, when you finish watching the whole story, like Glory, when you think about it deeply and clearly, you still see fundamentally it's a story that still basically requires the female lead to have blind luck and plot armor to get what she wants. Technically for Glory, the only reason that she managed to do what she can do is she finds a guy who is so good and who's so rich. the hospital guy. And then the other really rich and powerful guy is not purely bad. The He Daoyin, that guy, her high school classmate's husband. It's because that guy is not fully bad, and then it's because the other guy is so good, and they both are super uber rich, and that's why she succeeded. If it's like not these two guys, so basically like, she succeeded at her revenge because she still relied on super resourceful men, on their kindness. So like, how successful is that revenge eventually when you think about it? when it's actually that class system, that type of social sort of exploitation, like to put her in the position she is in the first place. So glory is 爽文. Glory is exhilarating pace, like step by step that. But then ultimately it's still like, yeah, well then still, real like she still has like magic. She still has like plot armor to save her and get her what she wants. 雪迷宫, I've already made a video, didn't you see? Oh my god, I'm so disappointed. Literally, it's like 2 days ago I put out my review. I know like the second season of Imperial Coroner is shooting right now. And honestly, it's so odd that now on internet, the fans of Wang Ziqi and Su Xiaotong are fighting. Because they're arguing who is Yifan, who is number one. Chinese dramaland is not Japanese dramaland. We don't work in the Yifan Arfan situation. And in Japanese dramaland, if you're Yifan, if you're number one, if the drama fails, you come out, you apologize. You literally shoulder both the blame and the flowers if it succeed or like if it's successful or failure. Like you have to take both ends of the thing. And that's why Yifan works in Japan, because that's how they always do it, right? Whether you are female or male, it does not matter. They usually just term you as number one of the drama, and therefore the drama is on you. It does well, it does not do well, it's your fault. And because you get proportional rewards and punishment, therefore it's so fine. Like if you shoulder number one, then it's on you. In China, it does not work like that. They only want to get the good things when you're called number one. And then if it fails, well, you dodge. Like, well, then why? Like, first, what's the point of getting the Yifan Arfan thing? Figure out. Since it's not equal, your responsibility and your reward is not equal. And second, it's never a thing in Chinese dramaland to call who is Yifan or Arfan, number one or number two. Particularly when you have a drama that clearly is led by a couple, then it's just like a female. And I can't understand why people like the fans of Su Xiaotong and Wang Ziqi are fighting on the internet and trying to decide for second season of Imperial Coroner who is number one. That's so stupid. 白夜追凶, no. They haven't said when, but I'm pretty sure this year. I just don't see why they don't want to put it out this year and wait for next year will be. I don't know. Youngblood actors reunion in the first scene without explanation. Oh, I haven't watched. Anybody watched? You Are My Lover Friend? That one I haven't tested. Zhang Xincheng, Wang Yuwen, I know. I haven't ventured in. In a way, I almost don't want to watch Wang Yuwen with Zhang Xincheng. Sorry, but in my head, Wang Yuwen is married to Wang Ziqi. I know it's not true, but I can't help it. I love them so much in a couple of other dramas they've already done, that they're a couple. They even have kids, and the kid actually looks like their kid. I know, it's the case where it's just so convincing to me that Wang Ziqi and Wang Yuwen are a couple on screen that I just, like, I think about Wang Yuwen and Zhang Xincheng, I feel like it's so odd. My brain just don't want to believe in it. So I will try my best to check it out, but if it doesn't happen, then it doesn't happen. Fateful Love. No, I don't think. What is Fateful Love? I have so many names of Chinese dramas. So I should end this because it's been 3 hours and quarter past that. It's pretty crazy. Need to get things done for living in this society. And thank you for coming, everyone, to this chat. It's very late, I know. It's been 2 months. And we'll try to do October 1 as normally as we could and not delay it. And hopefully by then I finish making all the Black Myth Wukong video. Yeah, I can't keep doing this for too long. It's so much work. And thank you for coming here. I'll say goodbye here and take care. And if it's late where you are, go to sleep. And if it's still daytime, have a good rest of Thursday. I'll see you in my Saturday weekly video. And then we'll see what happens with Chinese Drama Land. Please take care.